that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. We don't have time for the intro. We got to get right into this. Yeah, I've been using too long of an intro. I think we have to just start kicking in, you know? We did the pre-show for 1 hour before the show, and I want to mix it up a little bit and get everybody to understand that right now our nation is under attack from itself. The two parties have sold themselves out to the highest bidder, and those highest bidders think they can control our Democrats, Republicans like marionettes. Now, since the economy was shut down by Donald Trump, I shut it down. They told me to shut it down, so I shut it down. He hasn't started it up. And I'm driving by on my one essential day of shopping today, which I did my basic shopping. I noticed that all the restaurants were pretty much empty, even though the sign said, hey, come on in. So it's not easy starting up an economy after all these months now. Now, there's no reason why Trump would have done this, except that the country is being forced into almost a live exercise. And even he admitted it was a live exercise. Oh, they should have told me. Who are they, Donald? Who are they that tell you to shut the economy down or that this is a live exercise? We'd like to know. Who are you answering to? Are the Russian oligarchs? George Soros, the friend that you want out for having started riots in every city now across the country? Bill Gates, the guy who must fund your loans or something? Who knows? Who is telling you these things? Now, Bill Gates and six other billionaires have made $580 billion in the market in the past few months. Seriously, it's a bonanza. The more we take out credit in America, putting it against our debt, which puts us deeper in debt, the more these billionaires are feeding on the stock market. It's like a feeding frenzy. The stock market was up 459 points today. Everyone's like, this is great. We can all win now. So now they set the lure. The lure is set. More investors come in, they profit some more, with a hope that maybe tomorrow, with the extended credit and the extra stimulus, we'll have enough money to survive and do better. Meanwhile, the real numbers are atrocious. Our economy is collapsing from within. And what's really ironic is the Democrats are almost jubilant. Nancy's like walking around thinking, wow, this is great. I'll give you all of you governors whatever you want. Just keep this panic going. Keep the riots going. Keep destabilizing our country. That's why we'll all vote against Donald Trump. That's what Nancy believes, that we're not going to vote for Trump because he'll have destroyed the economy that they themselves are destroying right now. Now look at how sad this is. This woman, this protester in Seattle was killed when a car sped into a freeway. This beautiful woman, you can just feel the love that she had in her heart. You can see this. All snuffed out, hit by a car because the car was not stopped by battering ramps. There was nothing preventing that car from going into this woman. They didn't even plan on stopping traffic officially, but they said the local Seattle government under Mayor Durkin and our Governor Inslee apparently allowed the city of Seattle to shut down an interstate highway. Not because there's a disaster and a car is leaking fluid on the highway, not because there's a real need, but because they just felt it was the right thing to do, to shut down a federal interstate highway. And there are no applications at the DOT to do this. The state acted out of ordinary. This is not the state's purview to shut down an interstate highway, but they did it anyway, and it led to the death of this beautiful woman. Now, I'm not going to show you her death. We heard it the other night. We saw her body slam against the car. I'm so upset about this, I can't even talk about it. But did anyone even bother investigating the 6 people that died under that bridge in Florida last year? Oh yeah, an entire bridge collapsed, and nobody even, or it was 2 years ago. Nobody even bothered to find out why they were doing testing on the bridge with people under it. So you see, our government is like a machine that just rolls over people without any culpability whatsoever. Nobody goes to jail. What about California? 86 people died recently in a fire in California, and PG&E decided to take credit for it. It was fired due to electrical failure, but not one person is going to jail for it. I don't know. I just can tell that woman was a beautiful spirit, and I feel we lost a great person. I can just sense that. All because of ineptitude at the government level. Okay, you've got some information on Ghislaine. The FBI wanted to take down Jeffrey or Ghislaine Maxwell. They would have done it years ago. Oh, I know. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell is probably going to get out. No problem.
Why isn't anyone?
This woman's going to spell it out like she means it. I mean, let's let her tell you. This is her YouTube or Twitter account or Instagram account. Instead of treating Ghislaine like an innocent socialite, a helpless socialite, we should be asking why the U.S. Justice Department had failed dozens of underage girls for so long. I agree.
When talking about this on today's edition of Why Isn't Anyone Talking About This, the former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein has been arrested. At least that's what the media tells me. But when you take the time to actually research the life, the connections, and the family of Ghislaine Maxwell, you find that she was much more than just your average British socialite. Yet she seems to be getting the exact same media coverage as Jeffrey Epstein did when he was arrested, and you were told that he was just a wealthy hedge fund manager that just happened to like girls a little on the younger side, as Donald Trump would put it. You know, we live in a time where we have access to more information than ever before. But at the same time, the media continues to operate as if you can't even do the most basic Google search. They tell you that, oh, Epstein was friends with Trump when it's convenient for that side, or he was friends with Bill Clinton when it was convenient for the other side, when all the while the reality about Jeffrey Epstein is he did not discriminate when it came to his high-profile connections that were in seemingly every industry all around the world. All of this information, along with the testimonies of dozens of underage victims, is literally all right there, and yet we're supposed to believe that the FBI just somehow missed it? I mean, this is an agency here in the U.S. that was funded to the tune of nearly $10 billion last year. And yet it took them up until 2019 to arrest Jeffrey Epstein, and it took them up until 2020 to arrest Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah, that something that is clearly missing here, especially when you consider all of the incredibly high-profile contacts such as Jean-Luc Brunel, Les Wexner, Prince Andrew, the list goes on, that the FBI seemingly hasn't even gotten to yet. You know, we can sit here and we can talk about Ghislaine Maxwell and all of the parties that she went to, but shouldn't the conversation be about how this is a case, this is a saga that has gone on literally for years, including one of the most ridiculous non-prosecution agreements of our time, and yet somehow the U.S. justice system just hasn't been able to get a hold of it or to bring actual justice to all of these dozens of victims who had their future ruined by a scheme that included blackmail and some of the most powerful people in the world. Because the reality here is that if the FBI wanted to go after Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, they would have done it a long, long time ago. And that's something everyone should be talking about.
Oh, is she done? Thank you. Yeah, I hope you didn't get too much echo there. I agree. I think she's right. Absolutely. Jeffrey Epstein's connection to Prince Andrew is noted, and why is Ghislaine now, in protective custody? Why is a Jewish attorney investigating a Mossad agent? That's what I don't understand. And why was Brenman was taken out of his position by our government at a key time right before Ghislaine was arrested? Jeffrey Berman was leaving office immediately after the standoff, and then said no, but he is leaving office now, and he was a very he was like an attack dog on Trump himself, and William Barr used his power to kick him out.
The United States has fired Jeffrey Berman, the U.S. attorney in Manhattan, who had refused to take orders from the Attorney General, who'd refused to step down from his office. If you remember that yesterday, the two men had a meeting in Manhattan. They apparently left the meeting with different understandings of what was going to happen next. Bill Barr, the Attorney General, put out a statement saying that Berman was stepping down and laying out a series of changes for the office, including installing the New Jersey U.S. Attorney to temporarily hold the office and then nominate someone, the chairman of the SEC, to take it over permanently. That was not the understanding that Geoffrey Berman had. He put out a statement later that evening, last night, in which he said that he was not going anywhere because the Attorney General didn't have the power to fire him or to remove him from the office.
So Berman has his own reasons, and what William Barr did was clear the way for a Jewish attorney to handle the Ghislaine Maxwell case. She's a Mossad agent. Why would we want a Jewish attorney to handle a Mossad agent case? Oh, I sound biased, don't I? Well, when you think about it, she has a bias. There's no way she couldn't have a bias. If she's a prosecuting attorney, she should recuse herself from the case because clearly she's a good Jewish woman, doesn't want to go against the Mossad. Yeah. But Berman, I don't know about him. He looked like an attack dog and they got him out of the way, so they're going to give her a light care. That's the problem. I'm sure everybody's got dirt on the royal family. But who cares? That's not the point. The government only has one role, and that's to guarantee your God-given individual rights. If the government has its own agenda, it must be terminated from office. I totally agree, Aggie Sue. And this is the problem. The government's stepping out of bounds, engaging in sweeping changes in our country that violate our human rights. This is why I support a human rights amendment, something that I proposed. And I'm working on the writing of this. This will include all men and women are created equal. You can't force COVID test somebody. You can't force a person to be vaccinated. You can't pay people a different wage. Men and women should have equal rights. It's a very simple plan, really, when you think about it. And you shouldn't judge people on the color of their skin. That's got to be spelled out because the Civil Rights Act is not clear enough. And now that they've changed the Civil Rights Act to include transgenders, I think it's important that this not step on that. And it doesn't talk about hiring or anything like that. It just talks about your innate individual freedoms. They don't have the right to say, well, if you don't consent to a test, sir, you'll have to be quarantined at $2,000 a day in a trailer down at the fairgrounds, like my governor wants to do. That's a violation of the Nuremberg Code. You can't do that. So this brings the Nuremberg Code, the First Amendment, the Second, the Fourth, the Fifth Amendment, all into the same heading and adds a new human rights amendment, which will give equal pay for men and women. I think the time has come. That's what I'm going to be discussing with governors. Anyway, this is a case that I seriously doubt they're going to be able to extradite Prince Andrew. So I think it's hands off on that one. But since they have Ghislaine Maxwell in custody, let's make sure she's under lock and key and not getting, exposed to COVID-19 victims, and maybe she'll come down with COVID and then they'll say, oh, she died, and then she won't die. Somebody in place of her will be put there as a body and they'll say, oh, what a terrible, tragic loss. And then she'll go join Jeffrey at Big St. James Island, where they're planning on bringing more girls in for sex torture. Ghislaine has handlers, of course, but who doesn't? The point I'm making is, I don't have handlers, but who among those people doesn't have a handler? I don't think anybody should have a handler, actually, but when you're looking at the Mossad, they're all connected. Virus fear prompts Mexican town to block road from the border. Residents of this sleepy town here says, no, we don't want the virus in our town. Residents of the town of Sonneota, across from Lukeville, Arizona, briefly blocked the main road leading south from the U.S. border over the weekend. Well, at least they weren't bands of black militants like they are at Stone Mountain, Georgia right now. This governor, Brian Kemp, who just brought 1,000 National Guard into Atlanta, he's got a big problem in Stone Mountain. I mean, you should not have black militants stopping white couples going on a field day, a sightseeing tour. It's totally illegal and it's racist. Well, actually, there are black militants. They're mostly Jewish guys with black guys that they exploit. The Black Lives Matter movement wants to be known as other things too, so they're starting up new black militant organizations, mostly Jewish men, telling black guys they can make cash doing this. And all the money's trickling down from George Soros and the Muslim Brotherhood. So you've got that going on right now in America. Now, if all of you feel like you're perfectly safe, dude, I would gladly debate you if you would frame a question. But you never do. No, I'd be glad to debate you on a question, but because you come in here and hose us down every night as a troll, you're not even taken seriously. Yeah, you can't come in here. You're a troll. Well, you're feeling attacked as a white man. I know. I understand. And, a lot of these videos are being paid for by George Soros. He's funding black people to go beat people up in the street and flash mob them. Basically, cold cock white people. We saw a video last night of a guy standing there drinking his latte, and a whole flash mob of black people went right onto him and then just bashed his face in and beat him to a pulp. Knocked him out. Kicked him. Oh, yeah. Knocked him cold out. Just boom. Gone. And they laughed. Now, all that's designed to piss you off and make you hate people. Don't let this manipulate you. Not all black people are doing that. But if you see a flash mob of black people, yeah, you're going to have to lock your doors and get the hell out of Dodge. That's messed up, man. Well, there are a lot of black people in the world, and you should welcome them as your friend. But if they're, flash mob with bats, time to wrap it up and get the hell out of Dodge. David News, what is going on? Okay. You keep asking me what's going on. I told you it's government planned anarchy. I mean, what's more to the subject? Okay, folks, we got a situation on our hands where this is terrible. This is black on black violence, folks. And this is really what Black Lives Matter needs to talk about. There's a bus driver, a former CTA bus driver charged with body slamming a man in an incident caught on video. Look at this. This is horrible. Wait a second. I don't want to go to Kanye West run for presidency. No. He goes right into that. No, we know that bipolar people shouldn't be president. Trump is one of them. Oh my God, that could break his back. That's crazy. That's pavement, man. Look at this. Holy crap, that's like murder. This guy needs to be charged with attempted murder. That former bus driver needs to be sent to jail for doing that. Oh, that's crazy. And here, DeVirus, oh no, it's prompting a Mexican town to block a road. Yeah, we saw this earlier. Arizona's seen a major surge of infections. Well, Arizona just installed the 5G network. I don't know. I mean, a surge of infections. Do we know that these infections are from people with COVID? Because Phoenix just lit up the Verizon 5G network, and now that we're seeing a spike in COVID deaths in Phoenix. Well, you're not dead yet. I seriously think you need to get an EMF meter. eBay has a wonderful deal right now. You just go to eBay and go EMF meter. It takes all of a few seconds. Go to your lowest cost one. $14.99 will get you enough information about the radio frequencies in your area. If you're near a 5G mast, and because they never tested the stuff for safety, you could be putting yourself at risk. There's a lot of things that we are not getting answers from with our government. This is why a third party is necessary. We have no answers about any of these things that are rolling in front of your screen, things that are definitely unsafe. Chemtrails in the sky. You're not getting our government to talk about that. The Democrats, oh, you're a whack job, but they're the ones that start talking about stratospheric aerosol injection, right? Oh, both the Democrats and Republicans are pushing a 5G network that's never been safety tested. They want to have vaccines stuck in you with a needle, but they don't want you to breathe anything in your mask. And they could include RFID smart chips in those vaccines too. Now, they're using genetically modified ingredients in our food without even testing for safety. Pesticides, fluoride in our water system, Roundup. The Democrats, Republicans won't talk about these issues I bring up every night. That makes me the one questioning, is this outbreak due to a 5G installation in the Phoenix area? Is it an installation? Ask yourself that. So yeah, you can get these meters for as low as $14.99. I'll give you the link. I mean, come on, man. You could be really near a 5G tower. Check it out. Forewarned is forearmed. Forearmed is forewarned. Epstein pics emailed to you. Thank you. They're graphic. Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot, St. Canadian. Thank you so much for not selling out. Yeah, I reached a point where I realized this a long time ago, but then I realized, well, there's not much I can do. Legally, there's virtually no laws preventing censorship until I take them to a Supreme Court level or apply the RICO Act to what appears to be tax evasion. And if there is tax evasion, I'm only alleging there could be. If there is tax evasion, we'll pursue this as a tax evasion case and an attempt on my life, if indeed these threats are related. Then we have the RICO Act and the anti-stalking laws that would apply. And that goes to everybody involved, except people like you who have said no. You're immune to any prosecution. Okay, everyone, we're just going to go ahead and process the news as we regularly do. Nothing really to ask yourself about. All right. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms tests positive for COVID. What does that mean, testing positive for COVID? There's an 80% chance she's not COVID positive. Because there is no gold standard, there's no way of measuring what COVID is, and they're lying to you about that. We're all forced with these lies. This woman probably doesn't even have it. Right, Black Lives Matter could kill a child again, and the media is silent. And they still praise Black Lives Matter killers, I know. The New World Order, the Democrats are giving the Black Lives Matter carte blanche support, even though they're behind a lot of these riots and violent acts against people on camera. Oh yeah. But black against black violence is not mentioned by Black Lives Matter. That's a sad reality. Unfortunately. I believe that these Black Lives Matter people have been paid heavily. They claim they got Raz in a video. Here it is, Chaz's leader of the pack, apparently they claimed that he was chased and then ran and then they caught him. You know what Raz looked like, right? You're going to see a guy that doesn't look like Raz right now. Raz is no doubt free. He gets money from the Seattle government. It's not like they're going to get him. But they'll play it out like they're going to get him. Watch this.
As Seattle police who chased the suspect look down onto I-5, the suspect is seen bolting away here from officers who were trying to arrest him. He sprints all the way across the active interstate and jumps over a Jersey barrier onto an exit ramp below, and he disappears under an overpass. Now, minutes later, KIRO 7 cameras spot that suspect, who is now in pain from being injured, being treated by paramedics while police question him. Nearby, an abandoned Nissan Pathfinder police say was stolen appeared to have crashed in traffic, allegedly being driven by this same suspect who became a very familiar face during the 22-day CHOP protest. By this same suspect who became a very familiar face during the pain from being injured, being treated.
Okay, let's take a look at this guy. Oh yeah, crying like a baby. No knee to the neck. That's a good thing, yeah. You're not a racist, but you dislike the Black Lives Matter. Well, that's the thing. The Black Lives Matter is dividing our world by claiming they're special. It's divisive. I agree with Ron Helton when he talked about it being divisive. Totally. Let's take a look at Raz, Seattle leader. See what comes up. Okay. Now, as you can see, they got a guy who has dreadlocks, but it's not Raz. He's thinner, for one. Raz has got a thicker body. They just got some black guy with dreadlocks. It's not Raz. You can see that. His nose is different, for one. He's got like flange nostrils like out here, you know, like this. Yeah. Totally different. You see his nostrils. The nose. Let's take a look. We're going to enlarge his nose right there, and you can see his nostrils flange out. Raz's nostrils are more like mine. Yeah. Now people say, David, you look a little black. Well, I did do a blackface video. Imitation is the highest form of flattery, but that's not the same nose, dude. Nuh-uh. It looks like my nose. Raz and I have the same nose, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So they picked up any black guy, made him look like he's crying. This is not good for black people either. He's not crying, and Raz is not the one there. Raz is probably living fine, high on the hog, somewhere down in Aurora at his smoke shop. I'm sure that's not Raz. That's Razist. You don't look black? Really? Wow, I did a blackface video that you'd think that would make me look black. But if you don't want to think I'm black, that's fine. I didn't want to make fun of black people. I had to impersonate a bad president, a New World Order puppet president who's a homosexual married to a transgender named Michael. Well, Michael and I are in a solid. We're in a Muslim transgender relationship. I'm not the Trump dancer, no. You have a huge Jewish joy. It's good. Whatever. You're Jewish. Nothing wrong with being Jewish. Hey, you Jewish people, always recognize I am not anti-Jewish. I actually like Jewish people. I'm worried about these people that are not even really Jewish, these Ashkenazis, the ones that aren't even related to Abraham. Their mother's mother is not Jewish. So how can they be Jewish? Those are the people that I'm a little worried about. People posing as Black Lives Matter supporters who are Ashkenazi. Yeah, so a lot of white people in these gatherings with Black Lives Matter are most likely people, who are called Ashkenazis. So they're working on every level to break up our country. And Black Lives Matter is one of their conduits. This guy does not look like Raz. I saw Raz right there. It just doesn't match his face.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Do you mind if I take a little longer time this time or whatever, so
Yeah.
you can have dinner, and then I might not come back tonight because I'm going to do a video meet with my friends.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, Sarah's going to take a nice long break, everybody. This is her time for you, and she may pause the recording, which is fine, and I'm going to have my dinner break. Thank you very much. And I'll have dinner for you when you get done with this. It'll be ready for you. All right. Enjoy.
Yeah, I'll take a Yeah.
Like a 40-minute break. Okay.
Yeah, whenever.
All right.
Because I'll probably.
Okay, we're back up and running. Thank you. Took a little break with Sarah. If you want to catch Sarah during our regular show, simply go to our regular show and you'll see her. It's an incentive to watch our regular show too, which is on conveniently every day from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Thank you. Yeah, so we have a daily show, which is featured at coolrock.com. My beginning of my flagship social site. I've been working with the site since 1995, believe it or not. But yeah, it's all about having fun. And you can go there with a browser like dissenter.com and get great links to all kinds of cool stuff, like our Flipboard link button right here. That takes you to 38 magazines, all dedicated to the current links related to the top subjects that we talk about every day. Got a few followers coming in there. Thank you guys for McDundee following us. So you go to the magazines and you can see everything from police brutality, cannabis, government corruption. I got a section on Epstein now, which is interesting because they've seen Epstein alive. I talk about the 5G dangers. This woman claims she's been taken over. Her mind is being controlled. This is coronavirus information, current information, how the masks don't really prevent the viruses from getting to you. And also the fact that the World Health Organization is now saying that it's not passed between two people with no symptoms, which is a good idea. And this one, UFOs. Let's check this out. This happens to be the plans for the TR-3B, which conveniently is a naval secret, which is no longer a secret because it's been all over the internet. But there's an aircraft that looks like a UFO the government's involved in. And we talk about it on our Conspiracy Monday. That's like one of the things you could look into, dive in there. But anyway, going back to the Flipboard link page, you can get to all these and more, and it goes on and on. Documentaries, economic collapse, tech tools. This is all cutting edge stuff that comes into our room and makes me the best link provider in the world. Thank you. We have fun little things you can play, like with interactive with a computer, play it with a piano. That was the piano response from the computer. Here's a drum machine. We've also got the choice here on this one. These are all free plugins that companies put out just for fun, I guess. They draws people in to play the games, but another one is a Tetris Asteroids game. Those two games are available. Asteroids is kind of fun, but you need to definitely turn your Adobe Flash Player on to do that. These, however, work without the Adobe. Learn to play the piano. Get into a group sketchboard, which is more like an orgy of writing and sketching. Weird stuff. You can even click on the deck of cards and play poker or shuffle the deck. I put that in there. That doesn't require Flash. So you shuffle the deck, and you can pick a card, decide what it is. An ace of spades, king of clubs. I was off. Close, but no banana. And then explore the states is a cool thing, and I've got a thing called All Sides News. News from all three sides. Coverage of Trump's holiday speech divided on partisan lines. Yep. Trump spends holiday weekend selling his dark, divisive vision of America. I mean, that's from the left. From the center, Trump targets Marxists in his 4th of July speech, boasts of coronavirus response despite record case numbers. Okay, that's an interesting one to work with. Yeah. And then the right says, we want unity, Trump says in a salute to American speech, which is totally interesting and mindless. The centrist position is interesting because Trump's calling out Marxists and he's not even addressing the most important Marxist of all, George Soros, his close friend. Yeah, and that's the problem. The Republicans don't seem to understand that George Soros loaned Donald Trump $160 million and made him, George Soros, is his sugar daddy. I mean it. That's how he got Trump Towers built. So Soros owns Trump. That makes Soros a dangerous New World Order player in this entire event. He has power over Trump. As far as making fun of the Marxists, if you don't call out George Soros, you're not really making fun of the Marxists. So that's an interesting case. And the numbers of coronavirus cases the Democrats are pitching are fake and have been manipulated. But Trump hasn't said that. He hasn't said openly that these statistics have been manipulated, which makes him inept. Only an idiot would not do this and say, look at the manipulation of the statistics by Dr. Fauci forces me to fire him. And if I were Trump right now, I would systematically charge this guy with treason. Seriously, treason for what he's done, paying rioters to riot and having Acme Bricks put bricks in every city. That's treason. And then proceed to go after various other players like Birx, Fauci, Bill Gates, anybody who's been pushing the agenda of COVID testing. They would be targeted by the government as being enemies of the state. Now remember, their big plan is to poison off 100, 200 million people, U.S. people with forced vaccinations. We talked about Deagle.com where they say that they want 225 million people dead in 5 years. We showed you that the other night. So if you're tracking my show, this is what's going on. Yeah, this is serious, folks. I'm not making this up. So when we dive into the news, we're really diving into the most intense part of Cool Rock. That's why I put it at the bottom. But do check out the show. It's available 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. every day. This show is live and has been live for 12 years, nonstop. Nothing stops me, not even Christmas in July. So Merry Christmas, everybody. The amazing nonstop effort by David Sponheim to save this nation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for coming and attending here in the virtual universe. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and leave Cool Rock right now, which will be my destination. Once we get the SSL site, we'll have a much more interactive show there. I know it's been an obstacle for a lot of people. So Firefox just accesses scraplet.com/coolrock, and it works fine, yeah. It should work fine on Chrome as well, which it does for me. And it should work fine on dissenter.com, which is a free browser upload, which doesn't track a lot of the things you're doing. Dissenter.com, so you can go there and get that free download. Everything is fun and free with this entire concept. How can we go wrong, right? That's how I see it. And I'm not trying to do e-commerce in the site, at least not right now. So there's no need to have an SSL server. And every SSL secure site like Vaughn or DLive, we're finding they're using or possibly using CoinHive, which is mining your computer for Bitcoins through your RAM. Oh, it's weird. I'm telling you. And the creepiness of the internet is out there. You don't know if your computer is being used to mine Bitcoins while you're watching a show like ours. And we can't control it. So you got that going for you, which is nice. Ugh. Okay, so I'm going to build up my coffee intake so I can at least get to the next room where I'm supposed to be jazzed and hyped about everything. Yeah, we've got a couple things going on. One of our ops is pretty much hasn't been seen in a while. Very strange. We're worried about him. And there's not much we can do, but when people drop off, they drop off. What are you going to do? I can't go look them up, find out what's going on with them. But I'm keeping my eyes on indicators like his upload page over at 153 News. If something comes in and he uploads something, I'll know that he just dropped off, And I don't mind people dropping off of this effort. I really don't. It can burn anybody out. When I was 600 shows into this, and I'm over 5,000 shows into it now. But when I was, 300 shows into this, let me do the math on that. Or 600 shows, I was very, it was a pivotal point. It was like, do I continue? And that's when Sarah and I we're not, I used to do a similar amount that she did. And I said, I really want to do this. And she didn't. So I said, okay, well, let me do it. And you can give me breaks. And since then, we've been able to do this. Yeah, so You pull this off of here. Yeah, well, we're close to 5,000 shows. Let's just put it that way. I'll get the numericals down on it, but we're getting close to 5,000 shows. Yeah, crazy, huh? Well, I was feeling like there was a lot of difficulty doing this without donations, because at 600 shows we went to Vaughn, and Vaughn was like the death of donations. We got a couple really good ones right away, and then all of a sudden it's like somebody got to Vaughn and paid him off, and then our chatter numbers completely stopped, and then our world viewership started to grow from the benefit of the blackface video, which is still a very strong image out there of me, which I'm proud of, actually, because it's all about free speech. Let me get over to my free speech movie. Right now we've got the tomato room here. Yeah, let's go to the free speech room.
Here we go again. You're Mr. Right. Mr. Right. To the core. To the truth. Cause you're the piece I find. Ready. You sweep me off my feet. My heart.
God. Hey everybody, sorry for that cacophonous nightmare of free speech that we had in the free speech room. That's the problem with free speech, it's just overwhelming, right? Yeah, okay. We passed through that party stage. We're at a point now where we have to talk about something a guy talked about over here in iVlog. He said, I support the police. I'm sorry, Dave. I used to be totally against the police, but they saved me from becoming George Zimmerman and saved my dog. You know, even though they don't support me, the police have not really stood up for me, to be honest. But my defund the police thing is not about neutralizing the police or their purpose. My defund the police plan is to get them to respect our freedom of speech, our right to bear arms ourselves. You see, there's a terrible disconnect going on here. We have police that are completely and utterly unaware that we have rights. They've never actually done anything to clarify what a police is here for. Is it to protect and to serve? Is it to make our life more comfortable? Is it to arrest us for not wearing a mask in the public area? So I'm offering sensitivity training as an alternative to what we're doing right now. We're seeing sensitivity training as an alternative to killing people on sight who stick their finger in their pocket. Boom. Gunshot to the heart, you're dead. You move your hands, gunshot to the heart, you're dead. Seriously. You move your hands, especially from this position to this position, gunshot to the heart, you're dead. In Des Moines, Iowa. No, I'm sorry, Wichita. Wichita SWAT killing, I'll call it. Yeah, it was Wichita SWAT killing. 2017, a young man said, Mom, somebody's out front my house. You know, a young guy. Was he 29, 30? Yeah, the 2017 Wichita swatting. Some guy had called up a random number of a house and swatted somebody. The police didn't even check the name on the house to verify that it's the same name of the guy being swatted. No police work whatsoever. They send the guy from the Top Gun, the Cops show, to this location and essentially go after an innocent guy. Yeah, innocent guy who was just standing there doing nothing but saying, hey, somebody's at the door. And they shoot him because he, at one point, has his hands up, and then it dropped about that far, and then the guy shot him right through his heart. So yeah, there's a lawsuit of $30 million pending on this case. None of it makes any sense. And Andrew Finch was killed as a result of this. NBC News had the coverage back then. The video has expired. Okay. Well, this guy was reaching for the gun that he would have used to shoot his father. Well, the officer believed that Finch was reaching for the gun, but it was actually a false call. The story that the swatter gave was also this false narrative, and the cops had all these ideas of what the shooter was going to do. He just came out, this guy innocently came out and just put his hands up. He was shot through the heart. Anyway, make a long story short, that type of thing would not happen with sensitivity training. Hi, Astrid. Well, we don't approve of the N-word here. You know that. I'm against racism, and I know that sounds weird from a guy who did a blackface video, but I really feel, I've strongly felt that racism is bad for our country. But what's worse is our free speech being suppressed. Yeah, so I'm here to stand up for our free speech. That's why the blackface video was so important. It's the free speech of black people to call me names, too. I mean, I welcome the idea of somebody saying, hey, Dave, we think you're a racist. But I have never heard anyone say that to me, except for a Jewish guy who says, how can you do this racist blackface thing? Don't you realize this is very racist? Dude, it's your problem. I did it because I needed to impersonate Barack Obama because he was a bad president. He's a New World Order puppet. I'm not going to take away Dr. Fauci's right to pick his nose, but I will prosecute him for murder, for murdering all those elder people around the country in these nursing homes. Because right now, the CDC still has a standing order that COVID-positive people, and I'm not making this up, COVID-positive people are put in nursing homes to contaminate all the old people. It happened at the center in Kirkland, the Life Family Center. It happened in every nursing home in New York. It happened just recently in Florida and all the nursing homes. They're purposely spreading the disease so that they can push a vaccine on the American people against your will. So I made a video. It's only about 10 seconds, just a quick first draft, really. Reminding people that I am running for president and we got to stop this incredible crime. And I'm more than willing to tell you exactly what I tell you in the video. But it's easier for the video to tell you because it saves me the time of telling you. That's why we have video capability. Well, let's be clear. All right. I'm David Sponheim of AmericasThirdParty.com. If you're listening to this at Third Party, please get the word out. I will not force vaccinate the American people when I'm president. I will not force COVID test anyone when I'm president. No other candidate is saying that. Plus, I'm putting together a human rights amendment that will protect all of us and reassure us that the Bill of Rights is solid and no one can attack it. Join me. That was me a couple days ago with yellow tint. Yeah. Okay, what do you got? Black threatens kids on school trips. See, these videos are popping out, and Final Dream is scraping them up off of any source you can find of black people hurting white people. And this is all part of George Soros' plan to foment anger among the white supremacists in the country. He's trying to create friction between the whites and the blacks. The question is, are we smart enough to realize that and not freak out and get violent? And I think people are. Blacks like the money. We know they're in need of a lot of money. So Soros throws a few counterfeit bills out there, allegedly. And then you got yourself plenty of money for fueling a race war. So, and they found, by the way, in December, they found $1 million worth of counterfeit bills in Minneapolis. Go figure, huh? Right before all the rioting started. That money went around, and all of a sudden, people are throwing bricks through windows. Jacob Peterson of the St. Paul, Minnesota police was seen throwing a ball-peen hammer into a window at the AutoZone that kicked off all these riots. It literally is government-sponsored anarchy, as the sign suggests. Government-planned anarchy. Let's take a look. An attempted lynching. Okay, I don't want to see anything extremely violent, but, and I don't want to foment the flame of anger, but yeah, these videos are exactly why they do it. They pay black people to beat white people up and put it on video. It's happening all over the country right now.
Racist ass crap, get the fuck ass out of here. Ain't got fuck ass Trump sign on my fucking shit. Fuck wrong with y'all. If I ain't say shit to me, a real African white ass back, fire up your bitch ass. All of y'all. No, fuck that, man. That's you are racist. You have to be racist. Or you're delusional, or you're stupid. Which one is it? Which one is it? Get over here, dog. How you doing, sir? Man, no sir shit. Now fuck you, dog. Now fuck you. Fuck your cracker ass.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Do something. Do something. I wish you would. Do something. Do something with that bitch ass, old ass, fucking cracker ass, piece of shit. Walking on Black Lives Matter.
All right, so you want to walk your kids to school in a metropolitan area in America, folks? You're taking risks. Yeah. You really have to be very careful about what you're doing now, because flash mobs can roll into your town because lawlessness is taking over in all of our cities with a government-planned anarchy. Trump is doing nothing but practically acting like an imbecile. Well, I was thinking of putting my face on Mount Rushmore. Is that right, Mike? And did you see my cameo of... He actually stood in front of Mount Rushmore and smiled like an idiot. It was just unbelievable. Look at this cameo picture of him standing there. It's just so sad. This is the cartoon of a president we have. Our country is collapsing internally, and he's not even exercising his authority to stop governors who are violating our constitutional rights. And he's up there taking these cameo selfies in front of the greatest statues our country has, as if he's mocking us. Yeah, look at this. You could make a little, little jumpstart thing here. It's like he's mocking us, man. Which would you prefer, the profile or the front piece? I can't believe anyone like this even exists, but here he is. He's gotten everything his own way all his life. Even his family's writing a book about him. Mary Trump is going to be releasing the book very soon, which will reveal a very dark story about his family history. Yeah, you're going to hear about that because he's been fighting it in court. He doesn't want that book to get out. Too much and never enough. Yeah, this is the story. Too much and never enough coming out shortly. Well, let's be clear. All right, we'll bring that in. A tell-all book by Trump's niece to be released next week. Too much and never enough. How my family created the world's most dangerous man. So amazing. Look at that. Too much and never enough. This will tell all, and I'm looking forward to the read on this. This looks good. We're going to find out why Trump was so successful. And it's the underlying secret to his success is simply asking for loans. Getting money from his dad, manipulating his dad, getting $430 million snaked away from his dad's assets to somehow pad his pockets so that he could call Forbes under an assumed name and want to get his name in as the top billionaire. He was very upset he couldn't be in the billionaire list one year, and he used every means possible to do it. Yeah, and he took his dad's money out of their accounts through tax diversions and all kinds of things. Very complicated. A top investigative journalist wrote a book about it as well. But needless to say, he simply borrowed money from people and promised them things. That's how he's done it all these years, including how he's doing it right now. Hey, I miss Susie Quattro too. She's great. The 70s, I didn't even realize that she was such a great, entertainer until I saw pictures of her on YouTube. You got some give me an A. Oh, yeah. This is some black guy insisting he wants to get an A in class and having a temper tantrum from his Jewish professor.
No. That's a big difference between an A
I
and
want an
an
A though. I want an A. I want an A. You. I want an A. Like I want an A. Can I get an A? Can I get an A? Like I can't get an A? Like you're not gonna give me an A? Why can't I get an A?
You feel like I'm gonna give you
No,
an A?
get it.
The chairs.
I need an A. I can't get an A. Why not? Why not? I can't get an A. I can't get an A. I need an A, like. Or like, I need an A. Like I need an A. I can't get an A. I can't get an A. I need an A, girl. I need an A.
All right, so I think the Jewish professor was probably, standing his ground, but chances are he's going to get an A. Whoa. Okay, folks, this is a terrible scene. What I'm about to show you is a scene from New York yesterday, New York City. So when I say don't walk outside of your house and take advantage of your freedom, I say when you travel in a car. I'm serious. As much as I want everybody to travel and do their thing, you're not really safe out in the open. What you're about to see is extremely violent, and I'm very sorry to have to show this to you, but this is exactly what the government seems to be allowing to happen. As president, I would be telling people to stay in their house and don't travel around even to their schools if it's this unsafe. This is yesterday. You're about to see a man get shot, holding his daughter's hand. Wow. Crime Stoppers is offering a $10,000 reward, Crime Stoppers, for this homicide. Wow, there you go. Thanks for showing me this stuff. It's scary but disturbing, and don't ever take for granted your situation you're in. Situational awareness is everything. There's lots of masturbation, mommy stories in Trump's book. Really? What does that mean? Don't elaborate. We'll have to read the book. Mick Edge, what do you got? Borrowing money? Oh, I can't play music right now. Yeah, the thing is, I'm not going to take away police force's money unless they say, no, we don't want sensitivity training. Then I'm going to pull their money and then find out if they're able to hold back their number of brutal crimes. If they're able to hold back their own brutal crimes in a successful manner, we'll set a margin for people to keep crimes to a minimum. Police brutality is the big problem we're fighting. If they can do it without sensitivity training in their police force, and they decide collectively that they don't want the money, by all means, yeah, go for it. We will keep an eye on everything. We'll have federal government officers coming in to monitor state activities and policing. Monitor only, not tell you what to do, because remember, policing is a state's right as a 10th Amendment. We have to honor that. But if they cease to have normal situation where there's a lot of huge crimes being committed by police officers against individuals, like shooting people unnecessarily when they're unarmed, which is half of the ones that die every year are unarmed. Out of 1,200 people or 1,000 people a year, 500 in America are unarmed when they're shot and killed by police or tased to death. 1/4 of them are disabled. It's crazy. So we will keep an eye on that, and we will monitor it. That's the thing that this government would do. We would monitor the corruption at the state and local level. And then we'll even working with internal affairs and keep an eye on that. We'll have a good relationship. We'll bring in our experts at the FBI once I clean up the FBI, because right now it's dirty. When I found out the FBI didn't investigate Hitler's death, I knew that there was something very wrong with the FBI. We'll be looking into, we'll be doing actually sensitivity training for them too. People will be given personality tests in the FBI. The FBI is going to be given lie detector tests. local police or not. We're just going to give you a personality test. If you pass the personality test, you get to stay in the force as a police street cop on the beat. There won't be a lot of traffic cops with this new program. We're going to be limiting the money for traffic cops. Traffic cops will be emergency road crews. Same with State Patrol. I don't want anybody bothered for speeding. I don't want any of that crap on the highway where the police state's acting like God. But that's just part of the deal. Minimizing traffic, you certainly pull somebody over who's reckless driving, no question about it, and charge him with reckless driving. But you better have video footage of it. But no, this is primarily it's set up for the shoot to maim policy as opposed to shoot to kill. Right now, without sensitivity training, people who grab something in their pocket, like say I have something in my pocket here, like, oh, hang on, and that would be an instant shot right through my heart. Merely going like that would right now kill me. Whereas if they said, no, put your hands up, sir, and I still keep going for something in my pocket, they could shoot my legs, shoot to maim. Hello, Kodiak Bear. But if I continue going to my pocket and I'm still going down, and I happen to pull out a gun instead of Uncle Sam, they have every right to shoot to kill. As soon as they see a gun or a weapon, shoot to kill. But if they don't see a weapon and somebody's reaching in their pocket and they refuse to put their hands up, shoot to maim. That's a mild modification of what's happening right now. That's just one thing we can do. Family training, integrating police into not only dealing with domestic disputes, but handling children as well. Very important that everything be done in a way that meets and complies with social law. And the CPS organization is obviously corrupt and has been abducting children themselves based on evidence that I've seen. I'd be looking into the CPS network and possibly dissolving the CPS network. Instead, bringing on a brand new form of orphanages, modern day orphanages that take the pedophile activity out of CPS, out of the foster care industry. But I wouldn't get those things going until they were fully functional and showed that they could succeed with children and lab tests. Yeah, I mean, it's testing a kid's ability to handle an environment that's new. We'd want to make sure that everyone, is above board with that, and everything should be monitored. We should never allow adults around children unless it's videotaped. When children are in their private rooms, there's only one person allowed in at a time, and we'll have motion detectors, non-video. Every kid will be private in their room, totally private, but motion detectors that would determine if any more than one person is in there, then we'd immediately send a security to that room. Right now, you don't know what's going on in an orphanage. Kids could be, molested or whatever. Like Boys Town in the 1990s, when the Nebraska State Police found a ring of pedophiles exploiting children, working out of the Boys Town Club, the Boys Town organization. They found one guy, this Lawrence King, and they prosecuted him. But when they looked deeper, they found that the whole ring of pedophiles went all the way to Washington, D.C. And the FBI told the Nebraska State Police to back down. Now, I don't know about you, but that looks to me like the FBI is covering for pedophiles at the highest level. And that means that every single FBI agent will have to be lie detected on top of a personality exam. All these pieces of evidence that I've strung together in my analysis of this concludes that the FBI has got to be lie detected. We cannot allow this type of corruption to exist within that agency. You can't cover for CPS agents who are obviously working with children that are going to foster care that are abducted. Oftentimes, the people abducting the children is the CPS from a home of innocent poor people. And typically blonde, blue-eyed kids from innocent poor people living, like in Virginia Beach. You wouldn't believe how many kids have been abducted there. And the government has done nothing to investigate that. So there's so many things that we need to look at that are conspiratorial in nature that we haven't even touched on. But these are the big things we have to look at. And then the Jeffrey Epstein thing. That's huge. And then how it connects to Bill Gates. That's even more important because Bill Gates is in the wing here trying to push for COVID testing, COVID IDing, RFID chipping, tattooing, tracing, luciferase, the list goes on and on. Digital currency, I can't even begin to tell you. So yeah, we need to look into Bill Gates' background and why he was hanging out with a known pedophile as his media manager. That's just absolutely over the top. We've got to look into that. So there's a lot of things that we have to look at that are conspiratorial in nature that our government is just completely ignoring right now. Now, sometimes when you talk about this to your family, they're going to say, yeah, right, this sounds like a conspiracy. It is. It really is a conspiracy. And there's no reason why we shouldn't look into theories that may be true. But the idea that anybody who's a conspiracy theorist is a whack job has been pushed by our own government. It was actually a plan by the CIA to identify people who are conspiracy theorists as mentally ill. When in reality, Psychology Today did a study about 5 years ago, and they found out that conspiracy theorists are more sane than people that aren't. That's an eye-opener, isn't it? Psychology Today. Well, a lot of these videos seem to be popping up of blacks doing this to whites, blah, blah, blah. Let's not forget that whites have definitely been abusing blacks and racially profiling blacks in neighborhoods all around the country. Let's not forget that. I can't honestly represent black people if I don't recognize that. More sane? Oh, David. Yeah, that's what they say. They're more sane. Conspiracy theorists are more sane than people who aren't. Well, the masturbatory traditions you're describing, I love fries, could relate to what I believe Trump has, which is a case of vagina envy. Now, I'm not an expert, but he may be. I'm not an expert, but the vagina envy was discussed by Karen Horney in 1935. Neo-Jungian, Neo-Freudian. She's from she's from that era of Neo-Freudians. Karen Horney. Yeah, it's a funny name for a woman investigating sex, I must say. But Karen Horney came up with the idea of, she was a psychoanalyst, theory of neurotic needs as well as the vagina envy. Hold, please. Here she was, the beautiful Karen Horney. Anyway, the symptoms of vagina envy are this. Name obsession. Obsession with your name. A desire to return to the womb and not being able to return to the womb, being obsessed with wanting a vagina of your own. Vagina envy. And if Trump really had some masturbatory fantasy, if it turns out it was lived out with his mother, I'm not here to talk, that's Karen Horney. But Trump's mother is, was Mary Ann McLeod. I don't know what goes on there. I mean, I have no knowledge of this. But, I'm sure he loved his mother very much. But exactly how that plans out and how he became a man suffering from vagina envy, if indeed that's what he's suffering from, all of that would explain a lot of his behavior. Absorption with self, maniacal megalomania, malignant narcissism, an endless desire to lie to people. You picked a real winner with Trump. All right, move on. Let's talk about something else, shall we? Frederick Douglass statue has been vandalized in Rochester Park. Let's see what kind of vandalization we're talking about. Something a sandblaster can't take off. This is amazing. Such a strong abolitionist to be vandalized is sad. A replica of a statue of Frederick Douglass site in the studio of, Police in Rochester were trying to determine Monday who ripped a statue of abolitionist Frederick Douglass from its base on the anniversary of one of the most famous speeches delivered in upstate New York in 1852. The statue of Douglass was taken on Sunday from Maplewood Park, a site along the Underground Railroad where Douglass and Harriet Tubman helped shuttle slaves to freedom. The statue was found at the brink of the Genesee River Gorge, about 50 feet. There was damage to the base and a finger. I wonder if it was the middle finger. as President Trump and others pointed as possible at possible culprits, Rochester Police Chief LeRon Singletary cautioned that investigators still don't know why the disheartening act of vandalism occurred. They still don't why the disturb. So there's no word here. They still don't know. There's a missing word no. They still don't know why the disheartening. So how do they write this stuff and get away with it? Well, I do believe that Frederick Douglass and this entire thing is a very important effort to shun the abolitionists, and now we're seeing anger and violence against the Yankees. You see, this goes both ways. The war, the Civil War, it was not just one way. Now, when people take down statues and deface edifices, it pissed off a lot of people who have Confederate relatives. Do you think it wouldn't? Do you think it's okay to just wipe out their history? Do you? Because that's how wars are started again. And it's ironic that this is happening right now when George Soros is trying to start a civil war of his own, a race war. Isn't this unreal? Boy, things are so predictable sometimes. Okay, you got more hatred toward, okay. Yeah, you've got the people up at in that mountain, Stone Mountain up in Georgia.
Well-educated black.
You know, this is a quote from Donald Trump back in the day when many of us were objecting to affirmative action. And I don't have a problem with what he said here. It's probably true.
Black has a tremendous advantage over a well-educated black has a tremendous advantage over a well-educated white in terms of the job market. And I think sometimes a black may think that they don't really have the advantage or this or that, but in actuality, today, currently, it's a great. I've said on occasion, even about myself, if I were starting off today, I would love to be a well-educated black because I really believe they do have an actual advantage today.
Well, obviously, we can't allow affirmative action to continue in America if we want to be less racially biased. We can't. There's no way we can. And you people on the left have got to understand, we've given black people, Hispanic people, and Asian people a tremendous boost in education opportunities by allowing people with low test scores to arrive and go to school and even get scholarship money free for being a minority. And this has been going on for 60 years now. Well, 50 years, comfortably. Yeah. So we've got 50 years of this. We've more than made up for our problems, but yet we do have systemic racial issues in this country, no doubt about it. Racial profiling's got to stop. We don't have enough opportunities in the streets. So leaving that for what it is, you get a lot of people despondent and don't know what to do with their time, so they gather in black militias. Unreal. Let's take a look.
No reason to be scared, man. We got kids out here.
A few inches later.
We're black militia. It's your worst nightmare. Go ahead. We're black militia, bro. Leave me alone. We've been talking to you like for a minute. What are you? I just told you what I was. What are you? What are you is the question. Everywhere you go, you invade, steal, rape, rob, and kill us. Oh, really? Then you steal people's culture. Then you have to have an attitude about it. Where's our reparations? Thank you. Of course. I like the song. It's not what you did. What's the answer?
Oh man. All right, guys, just made it out of the YouTube prison system.
Okay, this guy's got a video. We'll go ahead and run it, even though it's got 192,000 subscribers. It's a pretty good video from that perspective. We'll take a look at that tonight. Thank you. We normally don't run AdSense prostitution in our show, being I am heavily censored on YouTube. Thanks for that link. I didn't know he had said that. So the Frederick Douglass statue is down, parts, yeah. Many of you are looking at Donald Trump's face saying, is this the face of a stable genius? And actually, no, it's not. It's the face of a man who's had corrective surgery for Down syndrome. Yeah. Down syndrome. Yeah, it's a terrible malady that affects a lot of kids, a genetic disorder. It leads to a below average IQ. Yeah, so you can believe whatever you want there on that one. He definitely didn't have bone spurs. We know that for a fact. There's no proof Donald Trump ever had bone spur surgery, which would have been necessary. Okay, this is a mind-blowing story that came in earlier. A judge orders the release of a woman accused of running over a trooper. Yeah. Yeah. That's the trick. During a riot, Buffalo, New York, a rioter who slammed her SUV into a line of officers, running over one of them and injuring two or more, is slated to be released from jail after a federal judge ruled the prosecutors had not presented the sufficient evidence to prove that the suspect is a danger to society. Well, she'll still face trial, but she's not a danger to society. She just likes to run over troopers. Trooper Ernst Minger, a 19-year veteran of the force, was recently released from the hospital following weeks of rehabilitation. He suffered a broken leg in the attack. Trooper Randall Shenefield has served the state police for 17 years as well, suffered a laceration to his arm, but remained on the police line despite his injury. It was captured by nearby surveillance camera. She ran over the troopers here. Whoops. Okay, the troopers are all gathering. Beating people up in the street, that's what troopers do. Right. Wailing on common protesters. And then she drives through the scene with her car or something. One trooper throws a rock, or what is that, like a stink bomb. Here comes the Amtrak that they gave all the young 2-day training SWAT members of the local police. Oh, then she drives in and rolls over a couple of them. Whoa! I don't understand why she would drive into an Amtrak. That's what I want to know. Yeah, where was the LRAD? The LRAD wasn't used at one time during the entire riot, which shows that the police didn't even bother to break up the riots, which means government-planned anarchy. Yeah, LRAD could have been used. Same with the active denial system, which moves crowds around, and that wasn't utilized, which implies that Trump is allowing this. Yeah. The active denial system is readily available by our police force to break up crowds. Why would they allow this classic breakup? Classic breakup. Okay, I'm back at you here. Defunding the police would lead to bringing in, if we had no policing done properly and they were violating laws that we'd constructed in terms of the numbers of brutality cases, we simply want to, get people to reduce the number of brutality cases. If they don't do that, we will consider bringing in a new and kinder National Guard that have the sensitivity training. Now, people in the National Guard that take the personality exam and fail the personality exam will be instead put into an X-Force, which will be used as a backup to the National Guard. The kinder, gentler National Guard will be in the forefront. Learning how to respect our Bill of Rights. Yeah, they haven't done a good enough job doing that. So they would be the backup in case we would never leave our cities without a police force. Ever. Right, child trafficking needs to stop. Yep. you're tired of sick humans over the sexual immorality. I agree. I feel like that there's a huge number of kids still in danger from Jeffrey Epstein. I believe Jeffrey Epstein's still alive. I don't have to go very far to have solid proof of that. Yeah, we have more than enough evidence that Jeffrey Epstein was seen publicly in Puerto Vallarta recently. His face doesn't match the pictures. Nothing about his face matches the autopsy pictures. I'll be looking at some other autopsy pictures tonight. Someone is going to send me some of these. And none of this matches him. The ear is different. The nose is completely different. There's a lot of cover-ups going on right now. Whether Ghislaine Maxwell will get justice and even speak out remains questionable. She may just come down with COVID and disappear, and they say she passed on of COVID, and then she'll just be shuttled out of the New York Police Department, being they're so corrupt, and haven't even been investigated by William Barr. What about the other case? What about this guy's case? Dr. Lou, remember him? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, University of Pennsylvania. He has absolutely, he had no reason to be killed. Neither did his friend, who died in his car with his keys to his car. They put the gun that they shot Dr. Lou with in the hand of his friend and shot him with the gun, overpowering both of them, probably with rubber gloves on. And it was a complete fakery to make it look like a murder-suicide. This guy's specialty was studying tissue samples of people with COVID-19. And he had just come up with a breakthrough, according to his team, who hasn't said a word about it. Isn't that odd? No investigation since then about the murder, and oddities that popped up online that don't add up. Like the face of his murderer, the guy who allegedly murdered him. Oh, he's got like 3 faces. Here's one of them. This was his friend, too, if indeed that's his face. They all have the same name, every one of them. I'll show you a couple other people. No investigation, mind you. Here's another one. We're not sure if that's the same man or not. I'm still deciding. It doesn't look like him. He has a very, see, this man right here has a longer lip like I have. That one has a shorter lip. Anyway, Dr. Lou has passed away, and we still don't know what he was researching. And I have a really strong belief that he was researching a fact that may very well be true about COVID. That the tissue samples that he's researching may very well represent damaged tissue due to radiation poisoning. Now, if that was his finding, you can imagine how groundbreaking that would be. So they'd put any number of people out there as possible assassins and say, oh yeah, this guy had a murder-suicide. Now it's gone. It's all wrapped up. No investigation. Just like there's no investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, not even matching the guy that was found dead in his cell. I mean, come on. And now we found out that Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, who's seemingly missing $100 million from Epstein's account over the past year, Mark is now saying he's suing because he thinks his brother was murdered. How could his brother have been murdered when you didn't even identify the right body, Mark? It looks like you're involved in some sort of a cover-up, Mark. So this is going to get deeper, and we're going to be looking into you, too. Mark Epstein will be going to jail as well for covering up his brother's death. Oh, it's going to get good. You just have to get me to the White House, and I'll make sure all these people face justice. I guarantee it. All these companies have gotten loans from the recent stimulus package. Here's one that, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Donald Trump has been raking in money off the loans, he and his friends, off of the stimulus money. This is the biggest con game in the history of America. I shut down the economy. They told me to shut it down, so I shut it down. And then I offered myself loans. And I got all these loans. Look at all these people. Hedge Eye Hair Salon got a PPP loan. Wow. I don't know what Hedge Eye Hair Salon is, but You'll have to give me more information. Is this important and germane to the issue? People will get loans on the system. I didn't take the money, no. I won't take dirty money. My walk on this earth is dedicated to truth, justice, freedom, honesty, and everything I believe and hold dear to my heart. The right people leading our nation, not a bunch of cronies. I believe in something you guys don't have, a better government, not run by corrupt pigs. We've allowed the two parties to become corrupted, and too long have they been existing in power with their no-term limits. They can remain senators for life with their padded accounts and big, huge retirement checks and free health care. I wouldn't take that dirty money if you handed it to me on a golden platter. I wouldn't take it. Nor do I want anyone in here who thinks that they can money launder. Go away. I don't need your stinking money. I could live off beans and rice in the middle of the Sudan. Well, that'd be tough. I'd have to dig a hole and find water. And I got to find something to burn to cook the beans and rice. You don't believe that Maxwell died of the COVID? Well, she hasn't died of the COVID yet. Yeah, they haven't done anything with Ghislaine Maxwell. Interviewing her might be nice. Getting some testimony from her would be good. Depositions would be nice, but she'll probably just fester in her cell until they say, oh, she came down with COVID, and then all of a sudden, oh, she passed in the night. Here's a picture of her body, and it won't even look like her. I'm wondering how much weight she gained in that beautiful house in New Hampshire. Tucked away. I would think tucked away would be trending. Yeah, Ghislaine, her bolt hole, they call it, as opposed to, well, something else named hole. Madam of the Manor, Ghislaine Maxwell, New Hampshire bolt hole, revealed a sprawling $1 million retreat called Tucked Away. You notice how tucked rhymes with something else? She's tucked now. No, I'm not sure what you're saying. Okay, we got a interesting clip here. Okay, we'll do that in a second. Thank you. Please, Mr. David. Ghislaine Maxwell's New Hampshire bolt hole. Wow, look at that. It's nice. Shall we take a tour? Shall we take a video tour of the bolt hole?
We've been discreetly keeping tabs on Maxwell's whereabouts as we worked this investigation, and more recently we learned she had slithered away to a gorgeous property in New Hampshire, continuing to live a life of privilege while her victims live with the trauma inflicted upon them years ago. We moved when we were ready, and Miss Maxwell was arrested without incident. Like Epstein, Miss Maxwell chose to blatantly disregard the law and her responsibility as an adult, using whatever means she had at her disposal to lure vulnerable youth into behavior they should never have been exposed and which creates lasting harm. We've been discreet.
Well, that's not exactly true. They didn't arrest her without incident. In fact, hang on just a second. We have a person who's mentally ill in our room. Boy, you just can't stop trolling us, can you? Did you talk to your psychiatrist? Did you talk to your psychiatrist about your inability to break away from our show, you freak? He stalks us. I can't believe we got him in our room. Never mind. That was a false report. They are reporting that she tested positive for the virus? No, exactly. That's coming. That's next week's report, Ron. Ron Helton, he absolutely nailed it yesterday. He said, this Black Lives Matter movement is divisive. It is. It totally is. It's like, well, and we don't matter? I mean, seriously, everyone matters. Blacks happen to be killing blacks, and Black Lives Matter doesn't want to hear about that. Oh, yeah. Those aren't the kind of things they want to talk about. Yeah, so anyway, Do they even have any forensic evidence on that woman? Probably not. Hearsay from Marina Farmer. Maria Farmer has been very forthright about what she saw. She saw lots of young girls going into Epstein's Little St. James Island retreat and never coming out. Based on that fact, I would have sent attack dogs, or rather sniff dogs, cadaver dogs, to go to the island and root out any place with a skip loader, and I would have started digging. Seriously. I'd have cadaver dogs all over Little St. James Island looking for cadavers. But not one effort by the FBI up to this point. So it's more like they're whitewashing this thing and making it go away, and I'm sure she'll probably get a free ride out of the jail to a secret rendezvous point with Jeffrey, who she loves very much. Yeah. Anyway, this is a fight between some black people approaching a couple of people out on a stadium area and picking a fight with them. Let's take a look. Looks like Black Lives Matter messed with the wrong guy, since we're profiling violence.
Stay away. Stay away. 那我这样过来好吧？你再往新疆方向。啊？在哪？
Holy crap. Gives up. Wow, he never gives up. He's out there fighting it. That's impressive. Yeah. Just a couple people looking at, at the whatever, and they're harassed, and he just kicked their ass. Was that staged, really? Oh, it's fake. Okay, that was all fake, everybody. See what I mean? Fake, fake, fake. Some of it's real. Yeah, it's all fake. It's not fake. It is fake. Okay. Kind of like Jeffrey Epstein really is dead. Okay. All right, whatever. Who cares? It looked good. All right, well, because none of you want to, paint this as any type of a particular angle on white versus black or black versus white, let's try to remain neutral here, okay? A list shows Hollywood talent agencies, law firms, AFI, and Kanye West clothing companies all among the recipients of COVID-19 relief, folks. Look at this scam being played on our country where we borrowed $2.3 trillion and then all the scumbags in D.C. are at the feeding trough sucking it all in. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, unbelievable, men have named you. People want me to get a goatee like Uncle Sam. I might just do that to do the Colonel Sanders impersonation, Just like a fake goatee. It'd be kind of funny to do that. That kid was trained in avoiding punches and countering back. It's not fake. You're right. It wasn't a kid, Trevor. That guy was a probably 25-year-old man. Very capable and highly trained. What he did was absolutely the best way to handle those guys. Did you see those maneuvers? Those guys didn't see those maneuvers coming at him. No, that was not fake. That's a standard procedure in Shotokan karate when you are encountering an assailant. What he was doing was like trained. That was trained. He must have been like a black belt. A highly skilled, capable guy. What's New Hampshire like this time of year? In Ghislaine Maxwell's country.
City Council took the unusual step. Normally, only 4 councilors.
Representative.
Oh, this is a Black Lives Matter gathering in front of Whole Foods. Remember when you could actually have a trip to one of those markets and get free samples? Those were the days, my friends, when we had buffet lines and there were samples to eat everywhere. When we were sitting ducks waiting to be selected by the New World Order overseers. Those were the days. No, I could make a song out of this. Royce Gracie once said, "Don't get hit and you won't get knocked out." There you go, man. Dodge. Do the rope-a-dope. You got to be fast, though. Thing is, if you have lightning fast hands and you move them really fast, you can't even see them on camera. Like I just threw 2 punches just now. Did you see them? You didn't even see them. I was faster than the frame rate. Just kidding. All right. Who's this? What is privilege? Privilege is wearing $200 sneakers when you've never had a job. Privilege is wearing $200 Beats headphones while living on public assistance. Privilege is having a smartphone with data plan when you receive no bill. Yeah, in a way that is privilege. Let's take a look at what privilege is. All right? Let's check it out, man. There are a lot of people in welfare mothers that know what privilege is. Yeah, believe it or not. I've met welfare mothers that living high on the hog, honey. And they could be, government assistant white people, too. Doesn't matter what kind of race, you can get welfare. What is privilege? Privilege is wearing 200 sneakers when you never had a job, wearing $300 Beat headphones while living on public assistance, having a smartphone with a data plan when you receive no bill for it. Privilege is living in public subsidized housing where you don't have a water bill, where rising property taxes and rents and energy costs have absolutely no effect on the amount of food you can put on your table. Privilege is the ability to go march against and protest against anything that triggers you without worrying about calling out of work and the consequence that accompanies such behavior. Privilege is having as many children as you want, regardless of your employment status, and be able to send them off to daycare or school you don't pay for. I like her. I was wondering if I could get a date. I'm just kidding. I'm very much involved with Sarah. Those were the days, my friends, I thought they'd never end. Well, this is a show dedicated to me, and you get to watch me talk. What do you have? You have all these links. Why do you send me all these links at once? Do you expect me to process this? Her racist behavior could have dire consequences for a black man. Glad she'll face consequences of her own. Oh, really? A white woman who called police on black bird watcher in the Central Park area is being called out. Yeah, a guy was watching birds, a black guy, and she just called him out like, "You're not allowed to be here."
Let's get you a breaking development on a story out of New York City, an incident that went viral. You may remember Amy Cooper, the woman who was caught in May for calling the police on a black man at Central Park. He had asked her to put her dog on a leash. She is now facing criminal charges. Chris Cooper, the guy she was yelling at, no relation to Ms. Cooper, recorded the incident on his phone after Amy Cooper made that call. He had asked her to leash her dog in a part of Central Park that requires leashes. Now we have learned that Amy Cooper is being charged with falsely reporting an incident. Keep an eye on that story as well.
Who cares? My God, you know, prosecute a woman for calling the police, and you want to let looters raid cities and tear down stores? What an a joke of a society we're living in. Yeah, you're not allowed to entice someone else's dog with food. They could be poisoned, yeah. David, did you see the illegal families being evicted because they can't pay rent and don't want the cops to come because of the husband's immigration status? No, I didn't. Usually that's an eviction, Trevor. It's best to stay out of everybody's business, including your own. So if you're doing your business, you better stay out of it. Otherwise, you might make a mess. I'm sorry if I laugh at my own jokes because Sarah left me here all alone to talk for another hour. She had a video conference to do. So that's perfectly okay. She gave me a nice 40-minute break, so I got a lot done. I planted 5 potatoes out of 2. I broke 2 potatoes, and I even have some I'm going to cook. 2 potatoes up, and I put the ones that were sprouting out in the garden. I was planting a certain area, and I said, you know, the rabbits are not going to beat me on this. I had planted beautiful onions, and they literally ate all the onions. They just like, well, these are good. The scallions, yummy. Yeah. So I said, potatoes are bound to be resistant. Those teeth cost me a small amount. Actually, Sarah bought them for me. I didn't really need teeth because I've got nice teeth underneath, but I've got a little hair popping up here. Yeah, there we go. Get down there, buddy. There we go. Sarah gave me a beautiful, I got her her uppers too, and she didn't want her uppers. She said I should have got uppers and lowers, but we got 600 for the uppers and 600 for the lowers. But I didn't get the lowers. She got an upper, I got an upper, and we were both, I was happy, she wasn't happy. I have the room for the uppers. She didn't have them. Well, if you're suffering from Mountain Dew-itis and you're losing your teeth, that's a good thing to have these things. But I'm not losing my teeth. I have yellow teeth from being a victim of tetracycline as a kid. So I can't get my enamel to shine, and I don't want to because I've got 50% reduction in enamel. And even the dentist was shocked. He said, how did you lose your enamel? I said, well, I had a lot of tetracycline as a kid. And that's how you can lose enamel. Yeah, I was a very sick child. Oh, I'm sorry you're losing your sanity. But I'm a very healthy adult. My goodness. I've had the coronavirus twice, back in 1985 and 1998. Yeah. It's been around since 66. So you guys didn't know the coronavirus has been around since 66? Yeah, they don't tell you that in the news. No, seriously. I've had corona twice, but not this particular strain. There will be no chance of ever getting herd immunity or a vaccine. So the government's deceiving you right now by saying there could be. It's a lie. There's no possible way we could create a vaccine for something that's mutating. Logic tells you that. Simple logic. Never mind, Gilda Radner. You know, the problem with Biden is he wants to really beat himself in the upcoming election. Yeah, unfortunately, he's really not. Yeah, he's not very good at talking. So he's lost his edge. Over the years, Biden was always kind of iffy about how he delivered speeches. And it kind of messed him up recently when he said he was going to beat himself. Not beat himself like with a whip, but you're just jealous because he made all that money from Black Lives Matter, right? Yeah, Joe Biden got money from Black Lives Matter funds that were coming from foreign donations. So the ones we have to be worried about are Bill and Melinda Gates. Like their recent statement when they said there's going to be a second wave. This is what I'm worried about.
In fact, the testing could have been ramped up very quickly in a few countries that have almost avoided the epidemic entirely, like Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia. You know, they took their experience and actually prepared, and so they moved a lot faster. So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time. Will get attention this time. will get attention this time.
Look at this. Wow. We're dealing with some pretty evil people, folks. They want to see all of us get infected. They want to push their vaccine. You know, he stands to make $43 billion. I believe Bill Gates is getting a lot of support from black people. I'm sure he supports Black Lives Matter too, because it breaks up our society and forces us all into this fear-mongering. Let me just say this. Look at what a judge has done. This is a Newsweek story. This is shocking. Talk about conspiracies. A judge is ruling that Virginia Giuffre Roberts' lawyers must destroy Jeffrey Epstein's files. So there's too much dirt on Jeffrey Epstein, and you know they faked his death, so now they're trying to get his files destroyed. Can you believe this? This is shocking. Millionaire charged with sex trafficking. Died by apparent suicide. No, he didn't. It's a lie. Financier being upheld in Manhattan. No, this is one of these stories that gives you no background. Yeah, this is just amazing. Senior U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska ruled Wednesday that Giuffre's lawyers had come into possession of documents improperly, noting that the protective order could only be enforced during the civil lawsuit proceeding, which had already been settled. All materials in the files shall be destroyed. Records that are germane to the Ghislaine Maxwell case. Oh my gosh. This is why I know that Ghislaine Maxwell's arrest is a big cover-up by NYPD. Folks, we've got systemic corruption at the NYPD. And William Barr, our Attorney General, is covering for Jeffrey Epstein, who, by the way, Jeffrey Epstein got his first job from William Barr's father, Donald, who was a writer of science fiction pedophile books about child trafficking, and hired Jeffrey Epstein as a teacher of calculus for 15-year-old girls at the Dalton Prep School without a degree in mathematics. He only had a high school diploma, and he still got a job with Donald Barr, who happened to write sci-fi books about child abductions and sex. Yeah, this is a really weird world we're living in. You have a disturbing picture. Final Dream can handle anything. He watches nothing but black people beating up white people all night long. He looks for violent movies that George Soros finances to get him more pissed off. Once you finish medical residency, you're moving to a rural area and practice. Big cities are breeding grounds for present and future viruses. Trevor, I agree. If you're going for medical residency, I hats off to you. We've had a couple of people who've gone on to become doctors who supported us. You're going to be going through hell to get there, but it'll be worth it. You'll make about $110,000 a year in your private practice in a rural area. Now, Trevor, we may offer jobs for $150,000 working at our modern revised VA systems. So you might get there and you wouldn't have to pay any medical malpractice at all. Think about it. Mobile medical units will be the thing of the future. Modern medicine. One thing we learned about this recent COVID-19 social distancing and all is people are living longer because they're not going to the hospital. I know. Most Americans will die in their sleep by the 5G network, you think? Well, you know, if they weaponize it, that's very possible. You're right, Aggie. They could very well weaponize the 5G network. It's unsafe, all these things. I start the show every night talking about the unsafe nature of what's scrolling right in front of us. I don't. I eat Mexican actually Mexican avocados. There's a tiny moth larva inside the Mexican jumping bean that gives it that jumping ability. You didn't know that? Yeah, I know. They lay their eggs in the shrubs hanging seed pods, and it's a sad thing when you see these jumping beans with no home. A Karen was arrested for false reporting. Yeah, we just covered that. Yeah, but false reporting is such a small crime when people are having their heads bashed in New York City right now. A guy just got blown away walking his daughter across the street, and I played it on the screen. Yeah. Terrible stuff. If you watch the show every night, you must realize that, well, for one, we've done the show for 12 years straight, and two, I've got a lot of things in my lineup that I can't even bring you because of all the censorship on YouTube. But this one's pretty weird. Under oath, Planned Parenthood organ harvesting partner says that we do a dissection of babies, harvesting organs even while they have beating hearts. And they quote, "I can see hearts that are not in an intact baby that are beating independently."
How does a tissue procurement occur in one of these situations when the entire fetus is intact in the lab?
We do dissection.
And just to be clear, you do dissection to obtain the tissues that are on the list for the day?
We do dissection to get the tissues that the researchers have requested, yeah.
They are, I mean, they have a heartbeat, don't they, at the point they would fall out?
Objection. This witness isn't in the room when that happens. This witness is not a doctor. This witness is not here to testify about the medical or biological conditions of the fetus when it's eliminated from the mother.
And by not alive, do you mean that they were not moving?
Correct.
And do you mean that they did not have a heartbeat?
It would depend.
Okay. And when you say it would depend, what do you mean?
I can see hearts that are not in an intact POC that are beating independently.
Now, this delusion that we have to get rid of the population is being promoted by elitists who think that they know best for the humanity. Now, as I've grown up in my life, I've been around people that were pro-choice most of my life, except for my mother. My mother was always pro-life, and my mother brought me life. So in honor of my mother, I'm beginning to see the world more through her lens. And seriously, I mean, I'm beginning to realize that it's so hard to have children and raise children in this world that we really need to cut back on unnecessary abortions. I'm beginning to see that whole idea. That's why I came up with the first trimester law, which protects unborn infant rights past the 20-week mark. Up to 20 weeks, a mother has a baby this big, without a cerebrum, with no pain center, no feeling. After 20 weeks, the cerebrum forms. And that's when life really needs to be protected. So I truly don't want abortions, second and third trimester abortions. Donald Trump wants to, make sure that no mother carries a baby 9 months. It's the strangest thing. He just says the weirdest things sometimes. So, let's see if I have a copy of that. Here it is.
Right now, in a number of states, the laws allow a baby to be born from his or her mother's womb in the 9th month. It is wrong. It has to change.
Okay. Earth to brain dead person. Babies go 9 months normally. Yeah, Donald doesn't even know that a baby lasts 9 months in their mother's womb. Can you believe what an airhead we have for a president? This was not altered. This is exactly live. Somebody said, no, that's altered. No, that was live from a conference he had. He's so gone mentally. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He just reads or listens to a teleprompter messenger that gives him all the things he needs to talk. Here's the journalist again speaking out about your rights and not wear a mask. And I believe we don't need to wear a mask if we don't want to. You should never be forced to wear a mask.
Has not been against a mask declaration. Now all of a sudden we're pretending that masks are everything, even forcing speakers to use masks. I would like the board to take a position. Was Dr. Levin wrong for those 3 months? And if he was this wrong, why has he not been removed? Why has he not been fired for being so catastrophically wrong? Or do you not really believe he was wrong? You're just wearing these masks because it is a signal of your great virtue. Damn! Damn. Because for the last 3 months, we have not worn them, and Ventura County has done outstandingly well and continues to do outstandingly well because we are not Los Angeles, we are not New York City, we never were going to be any of those things. Ironically, this is one of the few things Dr. Levin was actually right about. He has been wrong about everything. He is the one who told us we would have 400 to 600 hospitalizations a day. He revised that to 200 to 400 a day. We still haven't reached that in 1 day. We're barely over 200 for the entire ordeal that you guys have put us through. We now are panicked over 51 total hospitalizations in a county with 8 hospitals. Can you people do math? Can you please do basic math and understand where we are on this? This is not a crisis. You, however, have created one. You, in an effort to try to prevent all death, when we've had 43 deaths, have now ended all relevant life. And you should all be ashamed of yourselves. And this will never be forgotten. Ever be forgotten. You will all be held accountable eventually, in this life or the next. You all better hope there is no hell, because when you die, that's where you're going. And guess what? You're not going to be dying of COVID either. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for that link. That was great. All right. Got a very disturbing picture to show you. And we get these gems now and then, We get great stuff from here on the internet. You saw the pictures of the Rockefeller sons, all of them. Mm-hmm. Right, maybe you didn't see that. Well, I'll show it to you in a bit, okay? But this picture, yeah, before I end the show, I'll show you the Rockefeller sons. They've been replaced. They're all people you would recognize. Okay. Getting things ready. Hold on, please. I have a lot of things in my lineup. Things take time. I am proposing a human rights amendment. I'm in the process of writing one. I'll tell you more about it when I have it fully written, but it will consolidate a woman's right to get an equal wage as a man. Men and women will get equal pay. It will mean that you will never be forced vaccinated, guaranteed. It will mean that you will never be forced COVID tested against your will, guaranteed. You won't have to pay penalties for it. There are governors like Governor Jay Inslee who wants to do that to us in Washington, wants to actually force us to be tested. It's against the Nuremberg Code. So we'll be putting together a whole plan for all of you. Okay, so beyond that, take a look at this picture. It's going to freak you out. Sweet Jesus, who is to the left of JonBenet Ramsey? I have no words. Are you ready for this? Wow. None other than Ghislaine Maxwell in this picture. Wow. This ruined your day. Wow. Well, why would Ghislaine Maxwell, a person who's now arrested for child trafficking, be next to JonBenet Ramsey? Oh, it's definitely her. What do you mean? That's her nose. That's definitely her. You don't see Ghislaine Maxwell? Oh, wow. So you're challenged with spatial reasoning? Let me get a picture of Ghislaine, and I'll maybe construct some sort of a three-dimensional comparison for you. I see it. Yeah, I mean, I'm very good with faces. And Well, let's be clear. We're going to take a picture of Ghislaine Maxwell and do it's like a side reversal. As you can see, this is her picture. Analyzing the data, you can see that the face and the nose are identical. Reversing position. That is the same nose, the same profile, the same eyes, everything. No doubt about it. Yep. Okay, so now that I've helped you with that, we now know that this is pertinent to the JonBenét missing case file, which right now is sitting on a desk somewhere in Colorado by somebody who's been paid a lot of money to not talk. Wow. Isn't that a mind blower? So they've got a possible lead to JonBenét Ramsey's death. And you know something else? Ghislaine Maxwell was actually named in the recently, let me see if I can pull up my Flipboard, was named in the recent accusations of Jeffrey Epstein, actually John Podesta and Tony Podesta. And Ghislaine Maxwell may very well be the people eyed in the picture in Portugal of a missing girl. Let me go to the Epstein file. Okay, this is the Epstein file over at Flipboard. And many of you can grab and take a look at the Epstein file. I'll give you a direct link. I keep track of all the links that come in here. So if you guys are ever wanting to read more about things, that's the Epstein file. Yeah. Every baby has a soul. I agree. But I don't want to see unwanted children born either. This is before she was arrested. Top 10 reasons for arresting her. I'm just looking through a lot of these. This is a huge file. This shows. This picture shows Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. New accuser details alleged sexual assault and new lawsuit against Jeffrey Epstein's estate. I cannot understand why anyone would want to banish and get rid of Epstein evidence in a civil case that would be germane to the Ghislaine Maxwell case. I mean, this is the most atrocious misuse of justice in our history. It's an abridgment of justice. Disney symbols, Illuminati sex symbols. Yeah, that's another good lead. That'll take you down conspiracy row. This is a way of looking through at the rabbit hole, really. To go to our link page and just start looking at this stuff. It's just amazing. Yeah, I'm not getting the page popping up here. It's It would have popped up by now. So, needless to say, the picture of the wanted picture of Madeleine McCann. Let me see if I can find it on the net. Best song ever? Okay, what is it? Marina is involved in some weird stuff. Marina Abramovich, yeah. You played that last night. We played it. You posted it. We played it. Maybe 2 nights ago. It's a good song. I agree. Oh, wow. This is really funny. Trump acting like the border wall is stopping people. That's funny.
A tremendous impact on stoppage of people coming into our country illegally.
Now, your opponent said recently that he would not guarantee he'd continue this construction on the wall. He's saying that there are other priorities we need to spend money on.
Well, he wants open borders. He wants people pouring into our country, and he wants, drugs and all the other problems. You'll never solve it without this.
I got news for you. Donald Trump hasn't made any progress in the wall at all. Not one bit of extra length has been added. And that wall, look at the slats in this thing. He's standing next to the wall. You can slip kilos of heroin and cocaine through this wall. Why would a person put a slat fence with a country that we got a problem with the drug cartels delivering drugs into our country? Is this like the stupidest thing anyone could ever do? Clearly. Okay, so check this out. The picture of Madeleine McCann, the missing Madeleine McCann story in 2007, has a picture of a woman that matches, pretty much, Ghislaine Maxwell. A picture of a person that matches John Podesta. A person that matches Tony Podesta, his brother, alleging that they could have been involved. Yet they've got some guy, some person they've pegged with the missing case of Madeleine McCann. I don't believe it. But look at the slats. You could easily slip kilos through this. So what was he thinking when he allowed the drug cartels to slip kilos through the fence? And why didn't Donald Trump put any money into the fence over the past few years? I mean, we aren't seeing more than about $3 billion toward 133 miles. I can build a 1,000-mile container fence with $1 billion. Did you see him adding money to the stimulus package and tell Nancy Pelosi, I want money for the fence? He didn't say one word. He didn't try to build up the fence. Now he's doing a cameo, acting like the fence is working. This is total cover-up by Trump. This is a cover-up, damage control. He's got the media acting like he's really helping with the fence. The fence is not even covering more than a small fraction of the area I would have covered by now. This is the most insane, nonsensical thing in history. Yeah. Aside from my hair puffing out. Okay, that's it for that story. Jeez. But this is a fence that could easily have, I would say, living facilities for illegal aliens. We could easily have taquerios, carnicerias. You could have taco stands. You could have laundromats. Yeah. Laundromats. Can you imagine? People could have a nice place to stay while they wait for their asylum papers to be investigated and a justice looks at them. Yeah. Yeah, laundromats in Spanish is lavanderias. See, lavanderias. They could have lavanderias. It's been a long week already, and it's only Monday, yeah. Well, I've been doing this for 12 years, so you must really be pacing yourself. You better get better at pacing yourself, because if you have to last till at least 2025. My system's designed to last till 2088. Wait till the end of the apocalypse, 2025. See how you're doing. Okay, one thing that we're seeing right now is people videotaping black people hitting white people. It seems to be popping up all over the internet. It's like somebody's paying these people to get these videos. But here they are. This poor guy got a concussion from what happened. The kid was 12 years old. I better not play that. They'll monetize the music on that rap song. It's crazy area down South Missouri. You know, what can I say, man? Yeah, I don't know why people are going to live there. There's places to live in the middle of nowhere. you'd be better off. Have dogs patrol the top of the walls. Yeah, that's a great idea, Kodiak Bear. Yeah. You missed 2000 to 2007. What happened, man? Steve says Maxwell got immunity from Epstein's plea deal. Really? So Ghislaine Maxwell has immunity she's using. Maybe that's why the reigning attorney, Alan Dershowitz, the 80-year-old attorney to the pedophiles, is defending himself, too, against any charges. He says that they don't have a stitch of thing on Ghislaine and they can't even prosecute her. Oh, simpler times when you're younger? Yeah, I know. Well, you make your times. We make our own times. I'm making the mistake of traveling on the highway. I plan on actually traveling, strictly through boat or maybe possibly by magic carpet. I told Sarah today, I said, there's really nothing stopping me from taking a world tour of the ocean, in a boat. I could do the show from any sat point anywhere in the world. I could, all by myself, travel on the open ocean. Yeah, I remember the cheap buffets in 2000 to 2007, I know. Well, those buffets are the things you miss, I know. So I'm going to go look for a boat and see how costly it would be for me to get in a boat and take off, hit the open ocean. Not that I would, but, Have you ever sailed a boat? It's incredible. It takes a little, it's hands-on, you got to know what you're doing, but once you figure it out, you're good to go. Yeah, you need a little training before you can sail a boat. Harvard announces all course instruction will be taught online from 2020 to 2021. Undergraduate tuition of $49,000 remains the same. You're going to see a drop-off rate of people leaving Harvard. What about that Harvard senior that just announced that she was going to knife somebody that said that all lives matter? How can anyone become a senior at Harvard and not realize that's a felony? Or it definitely could get her in a mental hospital. Anyway, I'm going to take a look here at this Craigslist in my area. Yeah, I want to see what kind of a boat I can get for a decent price. I've always been fascinated by these things. Look at that. Look at that. This thing is ready to go. Dock. $2,000 or best offer. Title is clean. Solid hull. Blue water boat. And it's got some early designs in the print here. $2,000 if you could buy it in the bay that it's at right now. Look at that fixer-upper. Holy moly, look at that. That is a beautiful boat. It's got a galley you can't even see. It's probably all mildewed. $2,000 will get you that boat. You could you could fit that boat for sailing probably for another $3,000, get a cheap sail made. I'll bet the sail's ripped to shreds. But for $5,000, you could pretty much have that thing, snappy. Isn't that an amazing deal? $2,000. And that's in a boat area in my areas, Anacortes. This Coronado sailboat, or best offer. Let's take a look. Same kind of thing. There, you could go around the world in that too. So roughly $2,000 gets you a boat. So no matter how depressed you may be in life, you could always take a trip around the ocean. It's a big place out there. Look at that vintage runabout. Wow, that's all wood. I love boats. I just don't want to buy one because they're money pits. God, that's beautiful. Oh, look at that. Man, if only it had a little cabin. That is a gorgeous little woody. This 62 wooden runabout, perfect for cruising lakes in style. This is a, oh man, if that was a Chris Craft, that would be worth a fortune. It's of the same era as Chris Kraft. Anyway, check it out, Craigslist with Dave on Conspiracy Monday. Just to get on a boat to, escape reality. Yeah, there's a big ocean out there. Of course, it is dangerous. Let's not kid ourselves. Wow, this is a 1992 McGregor with a trailer, $3,000. That is nice. Let me get my face on here. Yeah, the black people burned Wendy's over a guy who did he die? I don't think Richard died. There were no gun muzzle blasts at all in that shooting. We saw Richard, there were no muzzle blasts. See? Winky told us.
There are no muzzle flashes, you stupid son of a bitch. He wasn't murdered. He was fake murdered.
He's holding the gun there. You can see it.
You stupid son of a bitch. There are no muzzle flashes, you stupid son of a bitch. He wasn't murdered. He was fake murdered.
All right, so how do you shoot somebody in the back without actually using a muzzle flash? Well, that's for me to know and you to find out. Okay. Back to the Craigslist ad, yeah. Okay, so this beautiful boat for $3,000. That's not a lot of money, seriously, for what you're going to get here. That is well kept. Look at that. I love the design. Oh my gosh, look at this. Beautiful back end where you can get your fishing material in there. Little compartment. It's got a little canopy and a place to sleep down there with a fold-out bed. The canopy protects you, and when you get up, you're looking around. Got a bathroom in it. Look at that in the storage area in the bow. Oh man, that is so cool. It's a little kitchenette. Look at the sink there too. Folks, you can't lose with something like this. For $3,000 and a trailer to boot. I swear it's almost a difficult time not buying a boat in my area. But it is a money pit. Once you start getting into it, you just spend money on it. No one should believe that COVID-19 is naturally occurring. I agree. It clearly is a bioengineered weapon. After 6 months of exhaustive investigation, a global scientific community has been unable to identify the source of COVID-19, and that is the when, the where, and how it jumped from animals to humans. Yep. It has all the earmarks of the Wuhan clinic being the source of it. Both coronavirus samples were isolated from bats in the Yunnan province. The bat lady probably put this together at Wuhan. So China is technically possibly involved, but remember, Dr. Fauci gave $3.7 million to the Wuhan Virology Clinic where this thing started. And Trump would not even talk about it. Trump is defending Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci recently, in my opinion, committed murder by putting COVID-positive people with nursing homes. That's murder. And that's still a standing order, by the way. So no wonder the numbers are increasing. They're putting COVID-positive people in nursing homes across the nation. Okay, so the story is starting to come out. 938 just said that, Ron, you're going to like this. Yeah, we just got a tweet, but the guest link hasn't removed. Could you repeat that guest link, 938? Could you cut that link out? Because Ron wants to see that. Ron predicted that Ghislaine would come down with a respiratory COVID-19 symptoms shortly after being arrested. I'd say there's a 100% chance she's going to die of it. Can't you just spell it out? Like break the link up so I can see it. Let me just look for it. Let me see if I can find it online. Hang on. It's a hoax. She's not tested positive yet. Okay, it's a hoax. Yeah, it's still a hoax, man. So Ron, it's still a hoax. Were you the one that started it? Okay, well, I wouldn't doubt, I'm glad the hoax is out there as a defense against it really being real. Because 9 times out of 10, no, it's okay. I got it. It's a hoax. This can't be real. Check your source. It's probably just a plan. In my opinion, this would be the plan of action. Bring her in, don't let her testify, claim immunity, have her die of COVID-19, God forbid, and then magically fake her death and put a body of some woman that looks like her. That's probably what they're planning. They're planning a Jeffrey Epstein-style repositioning so she can get out and be free of any problems. When you have this kind of money, now let's not kid yourself. Ghislaine Maxwell thinks she's an elitist. She thinks she's royalty. Yeah, Donald Trump couldn't even come up with a container fence. Look at that. Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell thinks she's royalty. So she believes that she can get away with anything. The mayor of Atlanta is seen in a video marching with Black Lives Matter, now contracted the Chinese coronavirus. Exactly. This is all by design. They're just pushing an agenda. So according to Please Mr. David, Ghislaine has logbooks and has agreed to is going to cooperate. Is Bill Clinton still in the country? I don't know. That's the question. At least 70 shot, 14 dead by Sunday. Oh yeah, talking about Chicago violence. Yeah, it's terrible. I know. No matter where you are, you got to be really careful when you travel. Don't think for a second that you can just get away with, whatever. Always keep your situational awareness on high alert. Yeah, keep your mind active. Always be aware of what's going on around you, and keep your doors locked. I mean that for all of you. And remember, your car is a Faraday cage. Much like one of these containers, these containers are perfect Faraday cages. You can't get 5G radiation to go through these things. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of having a car. And containers like this would be perfect to defend against a radio frequency attack. But a barrier along the border with Mexico is long overdue, and Trump acting like he's got something, that's just a lie. He's lying through his teeth. He's covering his ass. I exposed Donald Trump's weakness on the border last week. Now he's coming out with a story that he's working on building the longer fence. What a joke. He didn't even add it to the stimulus bill. I mean, come on. Oh, they're totally lying about the mortality rate of COVID-19, Stannis. Anybody who dies of anything, like that woman that was hit in Seattle of a car that ran her over, she died of COVID-19. Yeah, everybody who dies right now is dying of COVID-19. It's absurd, isn't it? After 6 months of exhaustive investigations, the Global Scientific Union is able to identify the natural. They can't find out where it came from, right? Well, that's zero hedge. We know this. I've been the one announcing they don't have. They got proof it's bioengineered, and we're fairly sure that Wuhan got tons of money from Dr. Fauci at the direction of Bill Gates, 3.7 million. They fabricated the virus. It's already been in the mix for over 17 years. They've been trying to come up with vaccines. They know it's a bioweapon. But it's not as bad as you think. Unless you're vulnerable to disease, you're not likely to get hit really hard. You see, this weapon is this virus, when it digs in really deep, that's when it gets dangerous. When your breathing is compromised, it takes a while for it to get a hold of your lungs and then do its nasty things. It seems to be creating blood clots in your lungs, which mimics the exact symptoms of 5G radiation poisoning. No, they're not connected. It just happens to have the same symptomology. Well, your coworker was very interesting. Tell her that as a human resources worker working for your agency, she's obviously being exploited. Yeah, tell her that she's being exploited to drive a wedge between the whites and the blacks. And that's just not right. This is a video put out by a government agent who's posing as an average person when she's a human resources worker.
Stay here. I should fight all your asses because this bitch ass motherfucker, fuck that bitch. He a little bitch and he racist as fuck. I was for black owned businesses. Blood lives matter. You a little bitch, Trump. Fuck you, Trump. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, Trump. Fuck you, bitch.
All right. Well, thank you. She does it for views. Yeah. She's a human rights worker. Is it safe to say she's one of your human resources worker at the FBI? Yeah. They hire some amazing autistic people at the FBI, and I think that's, I'm glad she has a job. So by pushing this agenda of creating racial division, do you really expect our country to break down? No, she really is. She works with him, and she's a co-worker at the FBI in McLean, Virginia. We identified Please Mr. Davidson as a troll working for the FBI attacking our show. And I was wondering why the FBI didn't contact me when I called them for assistance after all the death threats that I received. Her name is Vicky. Really? Well, Connect Joy, do you have proof she's from Instagram? Because I haven't quite verified this yet. We don't know where she's from, but Please Mr. David says she's a co-worker. You think Please Mr. Davidson is lying to me? Vitamin C and D and multivitamins are good for you. So Ron had trouble breathing for 2 days. He took some antibiotics that he had on hand, and in vitamin C and D and a multivitamin, and he felt better. Yeah, show me the link to this, because if we find out Please Mr. Davidson is lying about her being a co-worker, you said you knew her personally. Now you're lying to me? You said she was your girlfriend. Oh, man. Now, we don't know whether she's a co-worker at the FBI or not. He made up the whole story. Well, I scratched that. She may just be your average meth head. Or whatever. Yeah. You don't know her. You said you knew her. She was your girlfriend. You lied. You lie like a rug. Yeah, you said, I checked leak. I saw you. She's just my coworker. Wait a second. I don't know her personally, but she's just my coworker? Oh, come on. You're full of crap. You're making all this up. Well, why are you saying she's a coworker when she's an Instagram star and Connect Joy is going to give me a link to her? Can you get me her LinkedIn account or her Instagram account? Yeah, just pull up that. Otherwise, we're calling this guy a liar on his own here. Okay, so big story developing in China. Thanks. I'll look at that. Thank you, Connect and Joy. Your coworker. Okay, we'll take a look at her in just a second. Okay, the city in China's Inner Mongolia warns after a suspected bubonic plague case has been found. Can it get any worse? COVID-19, now there's supposedly a swine flu version of this, and now a bubonic plague is discovered in China. What the hell are China people eating? Dogs, cats, rats, snakes, bats? Could that be the cause of this? This is the actual title of the video, okay? Check it out. Her name is I'm Woe Vicky. She's got 2.9 million followers. She's a YouTube, Instagram star. And you have the audacity to say she's your coworker? They refuse to eat clean food in China, Stannis? Yeah, that's exactly right.
Stay here. I should fight all your asses because this...
Is she feigning that voice of being a meth head? Or is that really her voice? Let's see what we got here. Oh. Yeah, so, you know what I'll do? I'm going to just follow I'm Woe Vicky, and I'll get back to you on that. I'm following her on Instagram now. She's ghetto and stupid. Whatever. But now, please, Mr. David says, audacity, you make me out like some criminal. You lied. She's not your coworker. Are you saying that this Instagram star with 2.9 million viewers is a shill? Is she a shill? Meaning, is she a government employee putting out weird videos? I want to get the answer to this. Please, Mr. David, is she a shill? Yes or no? Is she a planned puppet for the Illuminati, like you are? Is she one of the workers for the government? I know, Davidson is just lying here through his teeth. He's a co-worker. That means you work for the government. She must work for the government. Are you able to answer that? Do norms have 2.9 million followers? You're right. Well, please, Mr. David raised a good question. How the hell did she have 2.9 million followers if she was a normal person? You know, Connect and Joy, he might be right. She might be one of the co-workers. Yeah. See, the government doesn't put these people out there and make fun of people and do all these weird things with blacks and whites if they didn't want to foment a race.
In the city with it, trying to make some couple bad.
We'll pass on that one. See, he says, I can't talk much, Mr. David. We have been through this. He can't tell me many things in here. This guy's working for the agency. Do norms have $2.9 million following? 2.9 million followers, Mr. David? No. So he can't say anything. Yeah. So very likely she is a government employee. So I probably was right there. It is a speech impediment, Ron. She's a gangster person with a lisp. It's not uncommon for the government to bring in people who are disabled, awkward, savants. If I were, say, appearing mentally retarded and I happen to have a unique ability, like I could hack or something, they'd bring me in. They'd loop you in. Oh, yeah. And they love people who are celiacs, people who are who appear like they're mentally retarded when they're low on gluten, or excuse me, high on gluten. Celiacs, Jesus was a celiac. Jesus Christ, you probably heard of him, right? Jesus Christ was a celiac, gluten intolerant. He had some, the crown of thorns over his head. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's actually true. Jesus was fed some unleavened bread that day, and he developed a big ring around his head. Sacrilege! What would be the idea of the initials Atlanta on her arm? A football team, maybe? Ron, she works at the same agency as this FBI agent, who's not even an agent. He's a troll. They hire them, they keep them in a room, and they troll people online. I've been finding out more information about these people because I'm one of the most trolled people in the world. So I'm doing kind of a side investigation, but she's probably, with 2.9 million followers, with that attitude, she's obviously a shill. You'd never get 2.9 million followers, and I just added myself to the follower list, without actually having the government behind you. Remember, everybody who gets lots of followers on Instagram or on YouTube or Twitter are government shills. They work for the government, or they work for the Illuminati, because right now our government is pretty much dominated by the New World Order Illuminati. And we're trying to change that with a third party. You said party? Well, let's party.
Was off the mountain, though we climbed it so many times before. You keep me wanting colder over and over, but I know how it goes.
Okay, scary stuff. You don't want to see that. That's the siren head that's scaring a lot of people. Okay, I'm almost in the room, yeah. Just got to bring myself in. We're looking at a new America emerging. I didn't want to use the title of New America because, well, I wanted to save it for a better America. But we're looking at a new America now across the country. David, that's top secret. Siren Head Project. I know. I accidentally slipped that out. Sorry.
Over 40 years, and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden. I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years, and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden.
Well, I'm glad the Democrats are so confident with Joe Biden, his inability to actually speak. You know, I've never seen such false confidence in the Democrats as they destroy our economy, allowing cities across the country like Portland and Seattle and Atlanta and New York City and Chicago descend into violence and anarchy. They think that somehow by doing that, it's going to destroy Donald Trump's chances of re-election. Yet Walla works for the Masonic-controlled Illuminati. I've said that from the beginning. Walla was compromised early on. Yeah, I tried to help him out, but he wouldn't listen to my advice. Yeah, people do a lot for money. That's the problem. The problem is the Illuminati has all the money in the world, and a lot of people do whatever they can to make money because they're buyable. I'm not.
I got a bunch of money too.
Oh, I like money. Yeah. I like money, though. I like money. I like money.
I like money.
Can't believe you like money, too.
Yeah, so this is a common problem. That's from the Idiocracy movie. Yep, and she didn't spell the hashtag Black Lives Matter because there are people that don't know how to spell, and people that click on Black Lives Matter, M-A-T-E-R, that's actually a hashtag because people don't know how to spell. And that draws a lot of people who are mentally disabled, like she is. So it's bound to bring on her hits. You know, if they want to slip out anything like hatred against Black Lives Matter or hatred against Donald Trump, they got people like her that look like average people, but they're pretty good at what they do. They work at the agency, I think. She does human resources, so that means that she helps people with their human resources. I mean, she could be anything. Under the aegis of human resources, she could be like a fluff girl, whatever. You don't know what that is? Okay, let's not get into it. Boy, this room is really kicking butt over at Twitch. We got 2 viewers. What a nightmare. And for some reason, I get people coming in all night long into my Periscope show, and not one person ever is able to talk to me except for one guy named William. That's why I know William 420 is clearly a shill. I'm just kidding, William. You're not a shill. Yes, all lives matter. Oh, did I say something bad? I'm sorry. You see, black people don't want to be added to the All Lives Matter plan. They'd rather be removed from that. Yeah, I confronted Walla about, he was protecting the Black Lives Matter group. I confronted him the other day. He came into our room. He said, hey, this is Walla. I said, well, I just don't think you should stand around defending a group of people that are getting money from the jihadists and the Muslim Brotherhood. Yeah, let's not forget that they are being funded by these people. How can you not think that? Let's listen in.
That you are powerful. You can make a whole difference in 2016. You can change the reality of our time. This is the time for us as American Muslims to be in the front, not to retreat, because all of you are leaders. Your votes are your negotiating power in the year 2016. Turn your centers, Islamic centers, mosques, into registration centers for voters. Black Lives Matter is our matter. Black Lives Matter is our campaign.
Basically, you are the new black people of America. If we don't stand, you will see Muslims murdered in the streets. We are the community that staged a revolution across the world. If we could do that, why can't we have that revolution in America?
Wow. Yeah. So you got a lot to worry about, folks. You can compartmentalize this problem that we have into a little box, but it's not going away. Now, either you help me build this third party, or that box is going to take over this country. They're systematically trying to shut our show down. They've got agents nesting in our show. The only people that get in our show and talk now are government agents. This is bizarre, isn't it? Amazed you can even hang out, Final Dream and Misanthropy. You're the old guys who, or the, not old, you're not old, but regular guys who can come in here and share with our show. They allow some regulars in here to give it the sense that it has a chat room now, but since our show became so popular worldwide, they're trying every which way they can to shut us down. No, doesn't one have to follow on Periscope to be able to comment? All I know is I don't have a lot of followers on Twitter, and that's been shut down. I've been shadow banned for 9 years on Twitter. Same with shadow banned on YouTube with the same number of subscribers. Yeah. And because I'm trying to do something constructive like form a third party, they see me as a real threat to their oligarchical control over the government. I'm the antithesis of what they want. I'm an honest, highly intelligent person with great ideas who's capable of speaking impromptu without a teleprompter on any issue. That's scary to them. They've got these puppets like Tucker Carlson who has to read off a teleprompter. He can't formulate a sentence otherwise. Or Donald Trump who reads off an earpiece, literally, 5 words at a time. I'm not making any of this up. They really have earpieces that feed you 5 words and you just have to say them. That's what a puppet does. I won't take an earpiece like that. It's a major change. All of this changed right around George W.'s time. In the old days, they had puppets like Ronald Reagan who simply read off a script. My fellow Americans, the problem with government is government. So what did he do? He raised the amount of government we had bigger than ever. Just come on. Well, this has been fun tonight. Thank you for letting me share with you my daily show. And as you know, the show is broadcast worldwide on over, I would say, 15 different networks globally. 85% of our penetration in the international market has been altered. I just found out tonight that Mark, the guy who gets all the money at Vaughn to censor me, who's been censoring me for years, Mark actually has been paying broadcasters, 70% of the broadcaster networks, the rebroadcasters, $7,500 each to not rebroadcast me. So many of you are struggling to see my UHF signal. It's because Mark has been paying them, according to this person that's giving me information. Yeah. So UHF is struggling. So we were having some people, limited on how much they can see. Bear in mind, you can always catch my website, coolrock.com, but if you're not running a VPN and you're not running it through a browser like Chrome or Dissenter, you can't see it. So that's been a constant factor about the show. If you can't see our show on 5 or 6 networks and you can't see us on UHF, try your best to get a VPN. You never worked for the CIA. Why did it take you so long to respond to that? Were you just doing some business on the side? Not a lot of people get in here, Connect and Joy. Now, you're openly gay, but I don't really know. We haven't seen you too many times. I mean, you've been here like regularly for about 3 months that I remember. But we have no way of knowing. Mostly government agents are allowed in here. So I'm amazed you're even able to come in if you're not a government agent. Mark must like you. Do you do special favors for people? All right, so we're waiting anxiously for the reveal of Mary Trump's book, the tell-all book, Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man. All about Donald Trump's rise to power. Mary's out there to talk about it, so I'm anxious to read this. All right, so Yeah, there's a lot of things happening around the world that really cannot be answered right now with any other explanation, but the government is allowing it to happen. It's all we can go from here. The reason why the Democrats put such a weak candidate in front of us is because they don't have anybody better than Joe Biden.
I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden.
Anyone with this type of dementia should not be running. You know, we lost some of our best leaders back in the 60s. John F. Kennedy was one of our best presidents.
Have been available to every newspaper reader, friend and foe alike, that the size, the strength, the location, and the nature of our forces and weapons, and our plans and strategy for their use, have all been pinpointed in the press and other news media to a degree sufficient to satisfy any foreign power.
He was trying to warn us that all of our weaknesses are exposed. And John F. Kennedy found the inner cabal when he dug deep. He was smart enough to realize the inner cabal was working through our agencies. The very same people we thought we defeated with Germany, the Nazis, were nesting right around him. And that's what happened. They killed our president, John F. Kennedy. And they prevented a nation from evolving into a better world. And then they slowly made our world, denied us our resources, denied us our growth, our production, wages. People's retirement plans dried up. Now only a few people have good retirement plans. And they gradually turned our nation into a third world nation, using the power of watching all the weaknesses that our nation has. The press, the greedy Republicans that'll take money, like money from Maria Butina and the NRA, the corrupt politicians like Pelosi and Newsom, who will do whatever they can to make money on the stimulus bill as we go deeper and deeper into debt to the Federal Reserve. John F. Kennedy saw all this coming, and he did his best to warn us in the Secret Society speech. So I'll probably play more of that tonight in my late show. Yeah, the whole Secret Society speech will be played. So Conspiracy Monday now is going to go delve into some of the issues that have come up to our show, and we'll be looking at all the different things that have been happening. Yeah, on the backside. And there's no reason why we can't keep the ball rolling on awareness. Keep telling people about a third party, and tell them that the only way we're going to unite is if we stick to our Bill of Rights. Because the Democrats, they don't have this attitude I have. The people left alone will prosper. Remember, the Democrats, they literally want to put America in bondage. They want to force COVID tests. They want to force vaccinate. And, you know, Trump hasn't made it very clear that he doesn't want to do that either. So I'm the only person running in American politics right now that will not, I promise you, we will not force vaccinate you. We will not force you to be COVID tested. I won't make it illegal to not wear a mask. You can go with a mask or without, no problem, your choice. I won't force you to do anything other than try to live freely in America and help the government get out of your way. And do that by voting for a third party. Because right now the government thinks they own you, and they think they control all our networks. And there's nothing that we can do. We can stop these people by uniting. Trevor asked, David, do CIA agents really have to have fake lives, lying to their wives and kids about what they do? Absolutely, yes. Trevor, I don't normally bring up the CIA on our show, but they are nested here. We know that. And we have so many bits of information that indict the CIA that I can't even tell you how dark it goes without showing you this. So what I'm going to show you right now is kind of the tip of the iceberg, okay? The FBI and the CIA have been enabling human trafficking. That's how corrupt they are. Okay? We're waiting for this to pop up. It's taking their time. I've got a little something I'm going to show you if it'll pop up properly. It should, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny. This story broke off. It's like meant to be. Jeffrey Epstein literally got a free lotto win while he was staying in jail for the alleged human trafficking he did. You know, this is pretty funny. Not only did they give Jeffrey Epstein access to young girls while he was in jail, serving time for prostitution of children. I'm serious. They actually gave him a Powerball lottery win. Seriously. A Powerball lottery win. Yeah. He had a Zorro Ranch. He probably still does. And the Powerball lottery win went to that guy. He had like $27 million lottery win when he got out of jail. It's like they were paying him off. So Jeffrey, you know, he said, I don't want to serve any time. You know, could you tell Alex Acosta to give me a light sentence? They did. Acosta, the former labor secretary, said, yeah, you're going to get a light sentence. Yeah. Let me put this back where it belongs. Okay. So Bill Clinton has been named as a material witness in one of the cases involving Ghislaine Maxwell. This is my folder I open up. I've got a whole lot of dirt on the CIA and the FBI. Yeah, I'm just trying to cultivate that so that I'll be ready as president to prosecute. Ann, you're back? Wow. Okay, Ann. Thanks for fighting through the censorship here, unless your IP has been approved now to get in. Ann was kicked out of Vaughn's room. Had to come up with a new ID. Yeah, so Bill Clinton, Donald Trump may have information about Jeffrey Epstein too. Remember, they were close. And Ghislaine Maxwell, so they may be called in. Lady's probably gonna get COVID-19, they're saying. Yeah. But Alex Acosta said that he was approached by the FBI, and they said, back off of the sentencing on Jeffrey Epstein because he's in intelligence. That's a quote from Acosta, our former labor secretary, in front of cameras in the American news media. So he was asked, why did you give him such a light sentence, 13 months in jail for trafficking 47 children, girls? And he said because they told him to back off because he was intelligence. There he was, Jeffrey, seen 20 days after he was released from jail. He allegedly died. He was seen 20 days later, August 30th, looking up at a drone above his little St. James Island, which he was checking on to make sure everything was okay after the hurricane. Post-Dorian damage was evaluated. This is the footage from YouTube that put him right there in the woods with Jeffrey. There it is right there. Look at that. This is him looking up at the camera. If you want to see this real footage of Jeffrey Epstein alive, feel free. I'm going to give you the link right now. You didn't stay for the show because you didn't want to see the real footage, right? I didn't paste this up. Epstein is alive. It's a scene August 30th, 20 days after he allegedly was dead. Yeah, so check this out, Ron. You can check it out yourself. With pot we stand. I like that. Yeah, this is the actual video footage, and I'm alerting you to the footage and where it is. It's around 2:13, 2:13, 2 minutes and 13 seconds into it. It's actually 2:38, I think. But you can watch the pan of the drone over at Little St. James Island that day. It was definitely him. So the government doesn't want us to look into Jeffrey Epstein because he's in intelligence, okay? Donald Barr, 5 fast facts you need to know. Donald Barr was the father of William Barr, our Attorney General, who's giving Jeffrey Epstein cover and prosecuted Berman, or actually fired Berman, who would gladly have prosecuted Epstein's assistant, Ghislaine Maxwell, but Berman was fired last week with no judicial rule being violated. They wanted Berman out of the way because Donald Barr, William Barr's father, he definitely had a big part in the history of Jeffrey Epstein. So William Barr is protecting Jeffrey Epstein and protecting Ghislaine Maxwell by firing Berman and putting some Jewish attorney in there to go after and research a Mossad agent, Ghislaine Maxwell. That's crazy, isn't it? But here's the story of Donald Barr. He wrote a science fiction book involving child trafficking, sex abuse, which looks more like a fantasy. The man was sick. His son, William Barr, is a complete shill for the Illuminati. Read that and just look at evaluate that for your records. I'm giving you some hot links here. Hang on. I don't mind going through the deep stuff on Conspiracy Mondays after show. I sometimes do longer shows. This is Barr's statement, which doesn't make sense.
Over the weekend regarding Jeffrey Epstein. Correctional Center over the weekend regarding Jeffrey Epstein. This sex trafficking case was very important to the Department of Justice and to me personally. It was important to the dedicated prosecutors in the Southern District of New York and to our FBI agents who investigated
the dedicated prosecutors like Berman, he just fired for no reason. And let's not forget him, he recused himself in the Epstein case. He just flat out recused himself for not even announcing why. And then he fires Berman, and then all of a sudden Ghislaine Maxwell comes in with a different prosecutor.
Case, and we're preparing it for trial. Most importantly, this case was important to the victims who had the courage to come forward and deserved the opportunity to confront the accused in the courtroom. I was appalled, and indeed the whole department was, and frankly, angry to learn of the MCC's failure to adequately secure this prisoner. We are now learning of serious irregularities at this facility that are deeply concerning and demand a thorough investigation. The FBI and the Office of Inspector General are doing just that. We will get to the bottom of what happened, and there will be accountability. But let me assure you that this case will continue on against anyone who was complicit with Epstein.
It didn't continue on. He recused himself right after this, and they didn't continue the investigations. And now Ghislaine Maxwell's finally in custody. I seriously doubt anything's going to come out of this. Seriously. Okay, my article, which I had copied, and there's something missing here. Let me just go through real quick. Yeah, the story I went looking for is gone. That's weird. All right, well, I wasn't able to show you that. Here's an interesting story. So I'm not going to implicate the CIA right now. Yeah, I'm not going to go out and say the CIA did this or that. I don't have the story. It's gone. It's wiped off the internet. Here's a media blackout that you need to look at. Basically, the detective who led Epstein's investigation here in the early days, 2007, died after a brief illness at the age of 50. Again, this is weird. Doesn't this guy look like the image of health? That's right, Trevor. The nose footage is almost proof. I agree. And the ear is definitely proof. It doesn't match the ear. This guy looks like the image of health. He died at 50. He was the lead investigator who had all the information on Epstein And now that you got judges trying to suppress information and have all the cases in the civil case get rid of witnessed evidence that was certainly related to the case, why would they want to get rid of that? It makes no sense. So this is all very strange, very suspicious. All right. We have images of Epstein's Island up close. We could play some of that tonight, I suppose. Yeah. I'm surprised, I really am, that video...
Well, we know that the FBI showed up this morning on boats at around...
The FBI did a quick search of Epstein's premises, but they never looked for any bodies. Yeah, that's kind of sad. I got this completely knocked off. That's really unfortunate. It's strange. I've never seen such a hack job on my site. Whatever happened, it's gone. Okay, well, it's been pulled. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll get back to it later. Okay, so move on. I'm not in any way related to you. You have been in violation of U.S. law. You are going to be traced to your local town outside of Moscow, and we will arrest you. You will never be allowed into our country again when I'm president. We got our eyes on you. All right, thank you for, we got one more thing, mass animal deaths for 2020. Okay, Ann. There you go. Ann's got the expertise on the environmental destruction going on right now in our world. Mass deaths. Look at this. All these deaths of hundreds of dead penguins wash up the coast of Sao Paulo, Brazil. July 3rd. Hundreds of dead fish found floating in the Hudson River in New Jersey. July 3rd, today. On the 1st, 350 dead elephants were found, a mystery in Botswana. June 20th. June 30th, thousands of dead starfish wash up the beaches of South Carolina. Mass die-off of fish in the lake in New Jersey, June 30th. Hundreds of dead fish wash up in a river in Nova Scotia, June 30th. This is just the past few days. Thank you very much, Anne. I appreciate it. Dozens of dead penguins wash up on the beaches in Florianopolis, Brazil, on the 29th of June. Thousands of dead fish wash up in the lake in Turkey. Thousands of dead dolphins washing ashore in France. Large die-off of fish in the Lake Quang in Vietnam. Thousands of dead fish wash up in the Lake Champlain, Vermont, June 24th. Thousands of fish die in a pond, Mystery, Sheffield. Thousands of dead fish wash up on the beach in Hatay, June 20th, Turkey. I mean, this goes on and on. This is like the human destruction of the planet chronologues. A chronologue of the human destruction. End of times prophecy has it. If you want to get depressed, check that out. That'll add to your depression. Yeah, it's just like an endless death. It's almost like they're poisoning the waters, the air we breathe. They want to destroy the earth. They want some sort of a reset. Hi, Aid. Long time no see. They want some sort of an ecological reset. Yeah. It's weird. And I'll give you a link here to the end of times, all the deaths. 300 dead elephants poisoned. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we don't know what the hell they're poisoned with, though. That's the thing. Okay, we've got a good story about Trader Joe's tonight. Many of you are thinking, well, shopping at Trader Joe's is shopping healthy, right? Well, this guy exposes big brands that make Trader Joe's products. Yeah. It's more of a ploy they're using, big brand names. So that's going to be interesting. Thanks for that link, man. I'll add it. All right. Can't beat that. Chat room celebrity. Okay, I've extended the show for a little while because I wanted to make up for the lost time during the absence. I'll be doing that sometimes, and when these videos upload to YouTube, many of you will be missing Sarah in the videos because she does the show live. She doesn't really like to be recorded. And her way of doing a show is different than mine. There's a lot of space, a lot of dead space, because she's actually doing what she enjoys. And part of the plan is for me to give Sarah the time to give me a break so I can make dinner and do what she wants to do in the off time. Because the show really is about me, and what I've been doing for the past 12 years is running for president against all odds. And many of you don't realize how difficult this has been. Many of you may never understand it until you read my book. But it's been a real challenge because we aren't living in a free and democratic nation. Our country is controlled. The media is run by about 5 people. I mean all the media, including the internet. They've got their fingers deep into this, and they've got money going out to try to suppress and DDoS our chat rooms. We are under constant attack because our message is so viable and realistic for the American people. Now, the reason why I started this third party many years ago is because it was in a formative stage back in the 70s. My father and I used to discuss the need for a third party back in the 70s. So when my father died in 2001, I began to realize what I needed to do. And it wasn't really until, actually when he was alive in 1995, I purchased the website coolrock.com. And I had a vision as to what I wanted, and I will eventually have what I want. We don't have what we want right now at Cool Rock, but we'll have something better. Right now we've got kind of a fun site, but the goal was to create an alternative view of the world that would make it better. And Cool Rock started America's Third Party. We actually started as Cool Rock Party. And we were going to create a party dedicated to improving the environment. People didn't understand the name. They thought it was some sort of like a joke. They thought it was like a druggy party or something. So we changed it to America's Third Party in 2008, and that's when we went public with that. And we went to all kinds of symposiums and conventions around the country announcing our existence. I sent out press releases across the nation in 2008. And after 500 and some odd hours of constant broadcasting, I actually created this video. And you'll see the level of frustration I was at 12 years ago.
Hi, good morning. As you can see, I'm still wearing the shirt I wore last night and yesterday at Blog TV. It's exhilarating to do Blog TV. We've been having an incredible time. This is in fact day 54. I thought yesterday was day 54, but we did a recount, and we determined that today is day 54 as we approach the election. And as your potential write-in candidate, David John Sponheim, I'm here to show you my hybrid electric vehicle.
Anyway, yeah, we haven't given up. I'm still on it. The fact that we can do a show every day with the internet is enough to keep this thing rolling. We don't draw any money from this. I've never made a penny on this. And the fact that I've gotten all these people so frightened of the existence of a third party that it's actually shocking that they want to spend all that money to stop me, because they know how serious this is and how important the third party is. And we are up against that resistance every day. So when you tell people about a third party, your friends, you're doing the only thing that these elitists cannot control: word of mouth advertising. When you talk about how I've been censored, and even though I've done a blackface video, I'm not a racist. I did it because of free speech and satire about Barack Obama. I've been accused of being a racist. And I'm the last person anyone would call a racist because I've never said a racial slur in my life, and I really believe in integration. So it really comes as a shocker that they cannot stop this effort, but that they're willing to pay millions and millions of dollars to people like Mark to trickle money into your pockets thinking you're stopping something that shouldn't be in existence. Anyone who's censoring us is actually trying to stop the only thing that'll fix this world in lieu of all this corruption: an honest person running for office. Every one of you who tries to censor me and tries to prevent people from coming in here and think you're making quick money on the side, you're trying to destroy the very essence of political correction, the very thing that comes from the grassroots, from the source. You're trying to stop the natural process. And that's what's really sad. Hey, I'm going to prove it to you. I am the answer to your problems for America, and I will certainly do everything I can to maintain this effort, because I am pretty much Mr. Right. And if you don't know that, figure it out. Anyway, have a good evening. Sleep well. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be in the show till 1 o'clock in the morning with videos, but we do this every day at 5 p.m. Truth Tuesday starts tomorrow. Thank you for coming in. Good night.
Mr. Right, too good. Just turn my world around, 'cause you're the peace I find. If you sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat. 'Cause you make me melt away. My feet, my heart stops to beat. 'Cause you make me melt away. You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good to be true.